Hello. Boy, that burn the subs is a terrible mouse pad. That's really digging into my wrist. This project is just big in every dimension. Every dimension, which means it takes over the whole desk. Which it doesn't really have to if I could organize myself a little better. I buy a 72-inch desk, and yet a quarter of it is for over there. Half of it is taken up with equipment. Ayademi. Let's check the stats. Let's check the stats on Ayademi. I gotta use... This pin header is not a good mouse pad. Just as a matter of course. You guys should know. Chat has not popped out yet. Hold on, I'll pop out chat in just a sec. Ayademi subbed to the tier 1 for 10 months. Thank you so much. Remdog Cap, you ever figure out that crimping from Tuesday? Yeah, we're gonna figure it out today. I'm gonna use 18 gauge wires, which is smaller than the 14 that I was gonna use, but honestly, how many amps is this thing gonna take up? I think we'll be okay. We're gonna go with 18 gauge wires for the power stuff for everything, and if it heats up, then we'll fix it. That's pretty much gonna be the philosophy going into this. I'm gonna be a little bit more Uo's Lab style. Let's open up the all the different chats here. So I need to go to Twitch TV O'Bother. This is the unfortunate thing about using Social Stream Blade. It doesn't like have an API set up. It does it all within browser windows, which is good in terms of like, you know, everybody's trying to throttle their APIs. So let's pop out chat over here. Pop that. Well, the Twitch is good because you can always use the same URL. Other VOD for the YouTube will get up in just a sec. I promise you, it's not you, it's me. I'll get it up in just a second. And we'll just pop it out, and then we'll get it up on screen. What did you guys think I was talking about? There we go. Okay, there's been no YouTube comments. I'm a sentient headache today. I don't know if I like dehydrated myself unintentionally. Yeah, the Twitch is having handing out a bunch of bans for multi-streaming. Well, they explicitly said that you're allowed to multi-stream. They explicitly stated that. So I don't know who are they banning for this. Where's the? Do you have like a story or something that I can corroborate with on that? Because we were very careful about it. Twitch literally said you are allowed to multi-stream. Like they said that. They said, hey, you're allowed to multi-stream. And so I said, all right, cool. I'm not using like an external platform for the multi-streaming either. This is all coming from my shop to whatever server is broadcasting. Because yeah, I would like to get info on that because I'm multi-streaming. That's what I do. What you got? Yeah, let's check that over here. Ugh, I hate these email logins that it suggests. Twitch appears to be targeting, this is a Twitter post. Twitch appears to be targeting streamers by maliciously enforcing multi-stream toss. Nutty was the latest victim. I'll take the suspension, but these guidelines need to be rewritten. If somebody gives us $1,000 dono on YouTube, we're just supposed to pretend it didn't happen. Oh, what, I'm not allowed to acknowledge YouTube? Simulcasting violation. I presume this is for showing multi-chat on stream. Not sure what to do about my multi-chat widget, so in the meantime, I'd recommend only using it for Twitch at the very least. I'm still going to show YouTube chat on stream. They can eat my entire ass. I'm too small for them to do anything about it. Yeah, I guess just multi-chat is what's not allowed. I was asking my chat to send me TikTok gifts in the middle of my stream to test an alert, which is technically not allowed. If somebody gives us $1,000 on YouTube, we're just not going to pretend it didn't happen. My guess is that it would probably be the TikTok thing as opposed to just multi-chat. Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's just acknowledging the other chats in some way, shape, or form. I'm too small. I don't think they'll really get at me with the rules on that one. Plus, we don't actually have alerts for YouTube. We don't have any of those alerts. Oh, the bottom right of the post, you see the policy? Hold on, let's click on that. I remember reading it. I don't remember details. Bottom right of this one. Weird rule, blah, 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 blah. I don't see them directly quoting it. Yeah, I can't see the replies without signing on, so I'm just not gonna. Middle right. Middle. Oh, they're using third-party services that combine activity from other platforms or services on your Twitch stream during your simulcast, such as merging chat or other features, as this excludes or limits the Twitch community. No, it doesn't. From the entirety of the experience of your live stream. I mean, the fact that Twitch viewers get music and the YouTube viewers don't is one of the big things, the big draws back to Twitch. Plus, the Twitch community is a lot larger. Of course, they're all going to get acknowledged pretty much equally. Although, to be fair, if you are one of these chatty Cathy YouTubers that loves taking up all of my mental exhaustion space in order to have a personal conversation, I would say that YouTube is probably your vector. But I mean, the Twitch viewers are prolific, and I love them just as much. I try to give everybody equal room under the sun. Yeah, Twitch has the better like integration and stuff. YouTube is a better video player, but that's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Twitch is better, therefore they have to do shady stuff to make sure we stand out. Yeah, I mean, I guess they're afraid people will go, wow, this YouTube video player is actually kind of nice. Twitch severing its own limbs must be Thursday. Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they do. They go, oh no, I need to punish this person for something frivolous. And they drop a banhammer on somebody. It's like the RIAA suing that girl for downloading Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. It's like just a completely like misplaced I don't know, power level. I don't know what this, I don't know. Oh, I have some more of these crimps. I wonder if I've got gold ones in the back. I've got all that old electrician stuff in the back. It might include some of these. Maybe not. I don't know. No, you know what? I'm not going to go get it. We're going to use what we have. Tech tangents. I know of tech tangents. Or have heard of. Has tech tangents flown by? I think they've flown by. Another electronic streamer, Tech Tangents, wrote and runs his own chat merge to get around the third party. He used to be a software dev. That's clever. Wait, so they say third party programs specifically. Hold on, what is it? But I thought it was just shown on stream was the big. Hold on, let's put our legal helmets on here. Put our legal helmets on. We're engineers. We're required to be jack-offs of all trade. We got to know everything sometimes. So let's just take a look at what this says. Using third-party services that combine activity from other platforms or services on your Twitch stream during your simulcast. And then they specifically say, such as merging chat or other features, as this excludes or limits the Twitch community from the entirety of the experience of your live stream. I have to be spiritually dedicated to the Twitch chat. That's just, you could argue that on all kinds of other levels. Hey, what's up, 3D Lasers? What we're talking about is, can I just drag and drop this in? You've dragged a URL into OBS. This will automatically add the link as a source. Yes. Whoa, okay, that killed me. It put it on top of everything, that's why. There we go. I don't know why I put the blinders on it. All right, so here. We'll just break it down to this. Boy, egg is going to be on my face when I put this up here. Just like this. And then I go like, oh no. Stop right there, criminal scum. You are in violation of the law. Using third-party services that combine activity from other platforms or services. Services that serve services that are serving. This is like legally, this is kind of poorly written. This is pretty poorly written. This is like somebody trying to explain to you why the rule is in effect instead of giving you tight legal language that allows you to properly follow the rule. They're allowed to do this, but it's a little sloppy. And so Tech Ingredients gets around the combine activity from other platforms or services on your Twitch stream during your simulcast. So using third-party services is kind of nipping it directly at the bud, at the first onset of the, don't even let them get to the example and you just say, I'm not using a third-party service, I'm using my own. But I don't know if that holds up because they do give you the example at the end where it says it excludes or limits the Twitch community from the entirety of the experience of your live stream. And they also say, merging chat, they specifically call out. Twitch made me chat here. I think Twitch Prime supposedly pays creators $250. The Twitch subs and the Twitch Primes, it depends on how popular you are because you can negotiate a larger cut of the split of the $5 that people give. The Primes come in as a regular sub for all intents and purposes. So yeah, we deal with that a lot because we do the board. But it's like, think about it. Like what they're saying here is that using a chat combiner limits the Twitch community from the entirety of the experience of your live stream. So my attention is split on YouTube and Twitch. Hey, Twitch, shoot yourself in the foot here. I'm building a goddamn board on my wall that puts only the Twitch subscribers up onto itself using a goddamn laser. So if you want, you can go ahead and try to enforce your combining rule in order to keep their experience from being split between two chats. But I mean, honestly, like the incentives to go on Twitch are something that I like kind of pride myself on. And it's a little silly that they have these silly, stupid rules. I mean, if enough people are doing it, what are they going to do? Ban us all? It is a very strange rule. And I do remember kind of grazing by it when we started doing the simulcast, but this isn't going to stop me from doing the simulcast. And it's not me being a rebel. It's just, this isn't enough. Like, that's not enough of a reason. And I know the toss is absolute. Well, fine, whatever. Like, I need that YouTube engagement because it's all I can do to grow. I could take the blue pill, but my growth is dependent on YouTube because we're not growing within Twitch, not really. The more streams I sort of horn in on and end up leaving comments on aren't really leading people back to me. That just doesn't happen. So jackoffs of all trades, of all everyone else. Wait, what? Huh? Sounds like a party. What is that hot dog guy? Is that Tech Ingredients? No. Gina's Glizzy. Look at that little Glizzy, he's dancing. I remember when that hot dog guy was in memes. I don't remember when, I just remember that it was. This is killing me. I gotta burn the subs. I can't operate my equipment. It's all connected with like tubes and shit. I can't get it out of the way. This hurts you. It's like, I have to, this is the true electronics content creator experience. You are not officially a content creator until you have pin headers that are pressed into your flesh while you try to use your computer just to stream. What's up, Blonde Dog? Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. This is something I think they really should reevaluate. This is ridiculous. And yes, I say this because I am doing this, but at the same time, it's like, I'm not taking away, you folks on Twitch feel like I'm taking anything away from you? That my attention is so split between these two communities that I'm not gonna, it's ridiculous. I've seen Adam Johnston do his big, Oscars stream, or like a watch along where it's just two chats next to each other. Stop taking my attention. You're taking away my attention. I owe it to Twitch. I owe my spirit to Twitch in its entirety. Everything that I am, all that creates Oh Bother, everything down to the core of my very soul, the essence of life that makes this time in the universe unique and gives us light and wonder and art and sense and purpose, I owe to Twitch, and I give it freely. They take slightly less other donations for YouTube, yeah. And I don't think I'm not able to monetize the YouTube channel. It's not popular enough. The streams are not popular enough for me to monetize. I think. I don't know if I can do it now, but at least the last time I checked. That was a good song. Tech Tangents Discord was debating whether the third-party bit holds up. I don't think it does. I don't think it does, because this gets more specific, but it is kind of interesting. Is it chronological? Like if you weasel your way around the law here or the rule here, does it invalidate the rest of it? Or do they get to come back in and give you like an example that doesn't necessarily fully, like when you're making rules, you're trying to carpet the entirety of the behavior that you're trying to limit, right? And so you've got to be very specific about how you're writing it, because otherwise there's all kinds of other like corner cases that come in, right? Bother, look at me, bother. Can we figure out the wattage of all the bits? That's something that I would like to do, but I think the more Twitch way to do it is just to put wires down and just see what happens. I think that's going to be the main thing. They at platform. My brain hurts. You're hurting my brain. Sorry, I just clicked on one of the dividing scenes. I've got little dividers in OBS, so I have a scene here that's just dashes, and so I accidentally clicked on that. There's no content in this scene. It should probably, these should probably be technical difficulties, just in case I accidentally click on it. All right, hold on, let me catch up with you guys, because my attention span is so split between YouTube and Twitch that I can't combobulate myself. Chilling before a road trip to the Tektronix Factory surplus store. Ah, that sounds like a lot of fun, Ryan Labs. That seems pretty cool. Yeah, refurbished is just about the only way that any of us will be able to afford anything Tektronic going forward and back. Tektronix has always been pretty expensive. The scopes that I've historically used. Are they a platform or an editor? The thing that I use to combine my chat is Social Stream Ninja, and it is a browser plugin. I don't think any of this exempts it, though. I think it's still a third-party service. I'm hiccuping because I wolfed down lunch. There were stuff outside of my control that that made me late today. Where's my, hold on. There you go. Oh, that's below the thing. Yeah, so I don't, you know, we're violating the law, but it's a stupid law, so we're going to violate it. Factory surplus is just their junk or broken returns. It's like the dings and dents. I know. Like, I need to go check out the Amazon dings and dents stuff that they have, because you can get like legit deals. But I think what happens is people go in and they buy like pallets of stuff, and then they figure out what they get and like put it all up on eBay and stuff. So everything has been monetized within an inch of our very lives. Do you have a shrine that's dedicated to Twitch? No, but my entire essence has been turned over into paying attention to them. And even my just reading your comment there, it sacrifices the very foundation of everything that we've built here today. Potentially. Twitch is out there with a revolver, and it might point towards my stream if you YouTubers comment on it. They're gonna Ole Yeller my whole career. Womp womp, fart noise. Place is only open 2 days a month, 2 hours each a day. So you gotta run in there and be like, and just like buy all the Tektronix stuff you can. And $1,500, go, credit card, ah, they closed, damn it. I gotta leave now. I drive 2 hours home. The shrines on the wall behind them. That is, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I could send this block of wood over to Twitch and be like, here, make a park bench out of it. Because it's got a bunch of perverty names on it that my chat decided to gift. I got 2 of these boards. I could probably show up to like a Twitch art gallery. Do they do that? Is there ever like a Twitch art show? Not on this coast. It wouldn't be on this coast, that's for sure. There was going to be an East Coast meetup and I was considering going to it, but right now it's like, do I want to get COVID? Because I'm going to get COVID if I go. Like, even if unpopular bother, if I just go to the partner place and I don't ever interact with anybody else, I'm still going to fucking get COVID from going to a like, convention. So, and then I can jump in the ball pit or the foam pit and crack my head open on the concrete. Leasing programs for Tektronix, I would never want to do that. I don't like that. They probably do, but they're very expensive scopes. So I'd rather own the scope that I have, because inevitably something is going to happen and it's going to blow up. Tech and Keysight Agilent HP. Oh, that's pretty good. I'm not keeping up with chat very well. I'm sorry, everybody. YouTube is best unmonetized, probably just as a signpost pointing to your Twitch page. That's kind of the way that I'm going on that too. I haven't done much of the branding setup over there either. It's very much just like I've just set up like a projector in a field, and do what you want with it. But most of our efforts are over here on Twitch. It also stands as a bit of like an archival thing, and whenever Google's AI decides to make a movie about Obother, there's all the data you need about how I move and talk and. Supermarket suite for Tektronix. I don't know why people in the suite don't just do the hook arm. You just run. Conventions equal COVID. It used to be conventions equal like a terrible cold, because you're interacting with so many people in one area, and people who are symptomatic, people who are contagious, might not even know that because they're not symptomatic at that stage of whatever disease, whatever cold or flu they may have. It is like 90 degrees Fahrenheit outside, and the humidity is somewhere in the 70% realm, which means it is absolutely uninhabitable outside. We are in a lab basement where the air handler is just over the other side of a piece of drywall, and I've opened the door to the unfinished part of the basement. So all of that excess air conditioning in that room is leaking down and all over to here. So I actually do have a cold environment, and I can wear the flannel without dying. That's why I wear the flannels, because it gets cold down here. Mr. Carlson, I don't know who that is. Always wondering, where does he find all the stuff? Yeah, it's probably factory refurbishes and stuff. It's pretty crazy. Some of these YouTubers have access to some pretty incredible equipment. They must have a real job in doing something crazy, or a job in refurbishing things, like lab equipment. There's just some crazy stuff that I've seen people taking apart on YouTube, and we did that gig for a little while. Every Friday I would do Teardown Fridays, and we'd take something apart, and I'd be able to look at all the nuances of the design on the circuit boards and comment on them, and it was a really fun time. And then I ran out of stuff. I completely ran out of stuff, and I knew that was going to happen eventually, but it was fun for a while. It helped grow the channel a little bit, but it was all of my like game peripherals and stuff like that we were able to take apart and look at. No, listen, I'm not familiar with tech, YouTube and Twitch. I don't like to be, because I want all of my silly memes to be my own. And I do a lot of referential stuff, and I got to curb that a little bit, because, we need to have our own personality out here. So I tear down IC chip programmers. That's pretty good. I need to find one of those channels, and I think I found one of them at some point, where they tear down actual dies, like the chip die, for what it does. There was some cool stuff with that. I could stand to learn a little bit about what the dies look like and how they operate and all that stuff. But I think I tried one once and I kind of like fell asleep. Fell asleep. They weren't punchy and exciting enough. Like, get somebody like H-Bomber guy to explain to me what I'm looking at instead of your typical dry tech YouTuber, the tech guy voice. Very cool. Electron update. Tube time? I think, wasn't tube time in my chat for a while? Well, no, H-Bomber guy would take 5 hours to explain it, but it would take 7 years for the video to come out. It's an unfortunate thing that's happening to a lot of these documentary YouTubers, is that their perfection and their craft is so honed and skilled that it's taking them a long time to make content, because it takes a long time to make honed, crafted, skilled content. It takes a lot of editing, it takes a lot of planning, it takes a lot of writing. And it's tough. It's very tough to do. People's expectations are too high, but it's been a year, boss. Can we get a video now, please? He's made stuff for the Patreon that's a little bit more whimsical and unpolished, and it's great. It's good stuff. I would love more stuff from this guy, but he's holding himself to such a high standard that we're waiting for the Sistine Chapel, and all we want is a painting this big. Like, it's unfortunate. I love the content, and I think it's amazing, and it needs to exist, and I support it in every way I can. But it's not there. Where's the content? Boss, where's the content? There's a couple creators like that we've been waiting a long time for videos for. And I can't complain. They'll make it when they make it. But like, we're all kind of just like, can't complain. Can't complain. Content. Well, that's, yeah. Content has kind of ruined modern society, hasn't it? I have monetized my hobby. My purpose is to spread the good word of noodling around with projects and just having a good time doing it. And making cool stuff along the way, making a little bit of art in our wake. That's sort of my call to action, my raison d'etre, my pièce du résistance. That's not the right one. How's everybody doing today? So I figured some stuff out about the steering wheel project. Mainly, it's just me needing to practice. It's not a hobby. It's a jobby. I don't know, man. If you like make RC cars as like a side gig, that's still a hobby. Anyway, the steering wheel project, Fusion 360. We're gonna go back to it, and we'll go back to it with the forms tool. The forms tool is a lot like Blender, where you start off with like a blob and then you start editing the blob down, except it's a little bit more engineering. You can assign numbers to a lot of things that occur within that forms tool, and the forms tool is going to do its best to make like a smooth body around it. And what we can do on specifically this one, where we have kind of this plane that we know exists and we need to define, I can take flat sections like I did before, but this time I can just hit Alt and extend stuff out in three-dimensional space. So I can kind of follow that form as I see fit, and then we'll be able to use all the mirroring tools and stuff like that in order to create the rest of the thing, and then we can kind of build it out in a solid and then seal it. There's all kinds of cool tools in order to do that. So we'll try to figure it out. We'll try to figure it out next time we get back to Fusion 360. But in order to keep the masses at bay, to keep you guys from, you know, putting me on a pike and then shoving me into a volcano, we're working on Burn the Subs. I'm going to try to get a little bit of power testing going here so that we can actually say it's going to work. And I can just start doing all the fiddly stuff that I've been avoiding for so much time. Those people watching me over YouTube will notice that there's no music, and somehow I'm bopping to a beat. It's because there's actually music on Twitch that doesn't get recorded. Gotta run. All right, Ryan Labs, good luck. Let me know what you come back with. Yeah, this is a Deckard, My Definition of Chill. This one is Volume 3. We've played it a billion times, but it's good. I got a Volume 4 up next in case we get out that long with the intro. I am a sentient headache right now. You know what? I need to hydrate. That's what I need to do. Wow, what is that? Somebody did a thing that's non sequitur, and so the light went up purple. Incredimike gifted a sub to Shy Guy Beats. That would be Shy Guy would listen to that kind of stuff. Yeah. I'm singing to my own special song. He was so dedicated to having his own channel memes. Not only does he not watch other creators' content, he makes his own music in his head. None of us can even hear it. It's so unique. The modular project, I hope one day will be able to take the place of music. My head is a weird shape. So it's super humid out, and I have a lot of hair right now. I've just discovered, apparently, and it tends to get a little weird and poofy in this weather. Is that like poofy in the sense of like the British meaning? Yeah, I need to get a haircut. I got a tooth cut. I got a medical everything. I didn't do a haircut. I should have scheduled a haircut for that week. So we can close this because I'm not going to buy this. We don't have a ton of specs on this, but if we go with smaller wires, we can use the smaller plugs. It's not going to be able to carry as much current, but I don't know if we're going to use as much current on this project. We'll just keep an eye on it. I mean, we got thermals. Speaking of which, where is everybody on this page? Oh, the thermals should be on. It's just they're not. Okay, hold on. Let's fix it. My barber is a half block away, and I still have trouble getting out to it. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, it's not that far away. I can get to it easily. My only problem is that my car is not inspected. I've already figured out what I'm going to tell the police officer when they pull me over, is that I'm just trying to keep the gas from turning into vinegar. We're going to get this old girl back on the road. Properties. Deactivate. Activate. There we go. I'm just a traveling police officer. I'm a clown and I'm late for my clown show. No, I mean, technically you're supposed to have like papers in the window and stuff like that. Doing a test drive, I guess, can be justifiable sometimes. It's not always going to cut the mustard though. And so that's when you get in trouble. Now, to be fair, all I have to do, this is an ADHD trap is what it is. It's an exciting thing that I do on the road. I'm avoiding the police in the most white bread milquetoast way I possibly could because my inspection is up. I can just fill out the paperwork for an antique plate, take a photo of the car, and give them all the right numbers and money, and they'll send me the plates. And then I don't have to get inspected anymore, I think. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that paperwork on Saturday. I'm not gonna stream. I'm gonna do the paperwork for my car so I don't have to be nervous driving it around anymore. Hey, it's good for me. I don't go to the supermarket and buy a bunch of bullshit, right? I avoid that trip like the plague. It really is just up the street, but somebody's gonna call the cops on me. 2005 was 20 years ago. The car's a classic now. My car's a 1999. It is an antique. Woken in the rain. Getting all the old wiring out from around all the little pieces here. Presumably my shop is not going to fight me today. Oh, this is that song. This is all over the place back in the early O's. This song, I forget why or who. It's just a real common, I guess it's just a house song, but the old MIDI sax. Little did he know his shop was going to fight him that day. No, it's not going to fight me. My last car was a 2001 Altima. Rest in peace. I lovingly called it the Bucket. Apparently, is it the Nissan Altima that you need to avoid on the road? I think it is. I think that's the car that hits other cars the most. The intrepid Nissan Altima. The Nissan Altima. The chosen one. The Nissan Altima. Here's the chosen one. He will hit a Honda. What? Just look up your laws. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know your local laws about registration and license plates. I would assume your 1997 car probably counts as at least a classic, if it's still on the road somehow. The thing about that license is that you can't drive at night. You're not allowed to drive it at night, and only to like certain destinations, only a certain amount of miles. So there's limitations depending on your state, but I know the Pennsylvania one is pretty lax and easy to get around. So, oh yeah, officer, I was just heading back from a little car meetup at my friend's house and going back to my house. Anytime I was near a BMW, I veered a little bit towards them to make them nervous. Statistically, they get into more accidents. I think it's more like anybody can get one. I don't know. They're fairly easy to acquire if you've, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I've run into a couple like meme subreddits about them. In the desert is very tough. In the desert, it's very tough on a car. Deserts are notoriously easygoing on cars. Dry climates are wonderful. In the Northeast, we are all road salt and grime. And the road salt and grime coats your car, and it'll find any exploit that it can in order to start eating away at your undercarriage. California sends all their old cars off to the desert. It's on a farm where it can play with its friends. Yeah, we had the Jaguar XJS that we took on that road rally, the East Coast road rally, was like that. It basically, I looked at the car and the guy was like, yeah, and this, and he picks up the passenger side floor mat and you can see the road. So we cut all that wormed steel out and welded in like a new panel. It was like an armor panel. It was a little thick, but that's how we got the car roadworthy again. But it was a trip because you could Flintstone that thing. Yeah, having a car last longer than 15 years on the East Coast. My car was garage kept pretty much all the way up until it was sold to me, where it went to die. It's now an outside car, which is very unfortunate for cars on the East Coast. I like this song, but then I looked up how long ago the song came out and I got sad. The desert will tear up your windshield and your headlights. That's no good. Yeah, the thing about, yeah, it's Kid Cudi and, who are those guys? Damn it. Does it start with a K? Who is that? Kid Cudi and... Oh, is it? It's MGMT? I didn't know that. I thought it was, No, I guess it is MGMT. They do this kind of like guitar-y sounding synthesizer-y techno. Good stuff. The paint gets sunburned. Ah, I sort of knew about that, yeah. No, not Rotten Beggars, no. I don't even know who that is. The desert will crack up your dash. I wonder why they're still using those same materials for dashes. Like, don't we know about thermal expansion? Can't you do something about that and use better materials? I don't know. That's one of those things is like, I would love to find a really weird car desert kept, because then the interior would be completely sun rotted and you could just get rid of it and start with like new stuff and make it like your own cool thing. I always thought that would be really fun. I mean, obviously, like I've got some fabrication skills, so that thing doesn't totally scare me. And if I had more fabrication skills, I would absolutely not want to do that because I'd know how much work it would be. Sandblasted. What is this desert like? Wait a minute. Where are we talking about? Are we throwing the cars in the middle of the desert? I thought we had paved roads and stuff. There's some vegetation in the desert. Backstory of MGMT is kind of funny. Two college kids decided to make the most commercial poppy sounding music they could think of, and it took off. Oh my God, that's so stupid. I hate that. That's like Garfield. Jim Davis was like, what's the most digestible comic that I could make and make it completely milquetoast? And he made my entire childhood of being a huge Garfield fan trivialized in that one sentence. Damn it. I'm like, I like MGMT. They make nice music. And they're like, did you know that MGMT was made as a thirst trap for milquetoast people? And I'm like, well, I do now. I'm having another brain moment. Sorry, hold on. I'm not talking. I have an excellent thing to say in my head, but I can't put it into words because I forgot the name of an extremely popular artist, and I don't know where to start to try to jog the memory. I'm telling you guys, streaming does something to you, man. I'm starting to show signs of like brain damage. There's like dark spots in my brain. Elvis Presley. Yeah, that's exactly who I was fucking looking for. That's the rap artist that's really experimental that I have in my head. That's exactly who I'm thinking of. Thank you. What is this rapper's name? Fuck, I'm never gonna get it. I'm never gonna get it. Anything that's exposed to the sun in the desert, yeah, it's that ultraviolet and the heat cycling and all that stuff. Who am I thinking? I'm not giving you guys enough information to help me on this because it's too embarrassing. Come on. Who's this? Death Grips. Not everything can be Death Grips, you know? Sometimes you want that light layer of pop. Just, it's you know, hey, cool, something's going on. It's not like, haha, we got you. You listen to terrible music. It's like, no, it sounds good. Like, what do you want from me? It's okay to like poppy stuff. Some people look down on it. Oh, you don't listen to music that requires like a thesaurus and a a degree in order to listen to. There's something you can build is something that I hate to hear. I hate hearing that. Okay, if I lived in the environment you described, why hasn't somebody invented a 7-foot sprayer that can be laid on the driveway and you drive your car over it, cleaning the undercarriage? I mean, you know. Everything has already been invented. And it's on Amazon Prime and it's only $40. You can also get a smaller one if you want. That's the thing about, like, people see you as an inventor and they go, I have this cool idea for a thing. And it's like, I don't want to do your legwork, but the first thing you should do is Google it. Like, you got to do this yourself. There it is. And I know you said drive over, but the difference between drive over and this is a hex wrench. Everything's already been made. You just need to reconfigure it to your specific use case. Damn, this thing would be kind of cool, but maybe not here. because the water plus undercarriage is not desirable. Although, to be fair, you know what? Actually around here that would be great, because if my car was garage kept in the winter, I could roll this thing under it and get all that nastiness off of the car before I park it in the garage. It's like wiping your feet. You probably need a pretty powerful pressure washer, since you're going from one nozzle to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Also, you could probably just make this with a pipe. Yeah, this would wash off the salt. You wouldn't want anything too powerful. You don't want to move any of your underbody coating, whatever the rubberized stuff is. I don't need it. I'm not going to buy this anytime soon. That one does it in rainbows. This one is gay. It's got the rainbow coloring on it. Well, would you look at that? Why does this need to be specifically? Isn't it the same as it's just the same as the other ones. Anyway. It's like, can't they just buy the normal one? Why are we segregating this? We know who that one is targeting. Was there a price increase? I didn't look. It was a larger one, though. I didn't look long enough. Supposedly at my work, the air conditioning is down, elevators are out, and power is fluctuating. Glad it's a holiday. Oh, you get the government holiday today. Nice. That's nice that you're not there when the air conditioning's broken, because otherwise you'd be calling in sick. I'm having a heart transplant. I can't get in. I mean, we all know why it was actually there. We're just joking around. The different colors for the different sprays was just to highlight them. Let's get to wiring. Why don't we get to wiring stuff? Because we got a lot of shrink wrapping and stuff to do. We can still hang out and talk about whatever. Getting a pressure washer and just angling the nozzle up would be the way that I would want to do it. But I don't think I would do that to my car, because I'd be afraid that you would catch the rust coating under the car and start peeling it off, which is like a death sentence to cars around here. It's what's eating away at my car right now. All right, let's get this thing out of here. What's going on? It's your boy. Look at that. Let's get this down here. Let's pause the music because I want to go back to it later. Let's get rid of start soon. It is Thursday, so of course all the things are happening all at once. The garbage collection is today, and the Four Seasons, the total landscaping company that took advantage of a very funny political gaffe located between a dildo shop and what is it, an animal hospital or something in Philadelphia. They are the same people who do the lawns for my neighborhood. Unfortunately, it's an HOA, but the HOA can pool all of our money together, all of the riches that we give them, and do something like have a day when all the yards are done, so that we don't have to listen to leaf blowers 90% of the day. I've been in neighborhoods where it's been like that, and it's hell. There's always a leaf blower going. Anyway, here we are. I've got chaos outside. My dog's going to be barking at everything. It is 90 degrees out. It is 75% humidity. The sun is blaring down on what little water is hindering the onslaught of ultraviolet rays. I'm not going outside. You can't make me go outside. We're going to stay here in a basement where there is a central air that is relatively new that can handle this sort of weather. If the power goes out, I die. It's so hot out. It's so hot out. It is freezing cold here in the basement. This is a house that was built in the 90s. We tried to get all the registers to kind of work together to keep the house nice and cool, but it turns out that it needs to make a ton of cold air in order to shoot it all the way up to the 2 floors above me. We have fans in some of the registers in order to kind of suck the air conditioning out of the vent more. They do work, but again, it's like a 10-degree difference between floors in this house. So I'm down here in the basement getting refrigerated, which I guess I'm okay with on a day like this, but that's why I'm able to exist in a flannel without just dying. I don't do well with hot weather. I do not enjoy hot weather. If I were to choose a geographic location that would house Oh Bother, it would be far more north than Pennsylvania. But here I am in Pennsylvania. I like it here, but I do appreciate the colder climates a little bit more. Then again, like you go to New Hampshire and it's like you get maybe 3 or 4 weeks of perfect weather and then it's sweltering. You just can't avoid the swelteringness in America. Anyway, so we're doing wiring. We're down here. We're nice and cool. I didn't do any of my homework. I didn't do my homework. Other stuff garnered my attention over the day that I had to get my life together, and I didn't. So we're still doing wiring. It's pretty simple wiring, and since try Finland, 15°C, rainy and windy, and it's midsummer, I'm there, man. I don't mind. My grandparents lived in New Hampshire and we would visit them constantly, and I would have to deal with Finnish levels of snow. I don't mind doing that. I know a lot of people go, I hate the cold and I hate snow. And I'm like, dude, I'd love that. Like, let's put a couple logs in the fire and let's just fucking, hang out. I love it. I love it. Anyway, I would love to try Finland. If they would take me, please take me as a political prisoner. Or whatever, a refugee. Anyway, so I need to move all my stuff into a storage container. We're doing wiring. My shop fought me. You guys saw it yesterday. I was fighting against the shop. It may not look like a real fight, but it was as stressful as putting Dukes up against somebody else, right? Putting Dukes up against your lovely neighbor. It was rough. I had trouble finding all the tools to get the stuff done. I had trouble finding the wire. I had trouble with every single step of the process. But what we ended up with was a pile of stuff that I now have basic access to that I can call upon in order to do the wiring. And we have the knowledge that 14-gauge wiring, while it may be preferential for a power supply of this size, we may not need it, and I can't really work with it that well. So join NATO and get stationed here. Okay. I could masquerade as a scientist. Maybe if I get my shit together enough, I will have access to a technology that's important enough to get me asylum in another country. No, it's fine. I'm fine. I'll be fine. I'm here in New England where it's nearly 90 degrees Fahrenheit and have a window unit I got used for $70. Oh my God. Yeah, when you've got a window unit, you end up having to make like a cubby hole spot where the window unit doesn't have to heat up or cool down a huge area, and you've got fans moving that cool air around and put stuff up over the windows, et cetera, et cetera. It becomes a little bit like hunkering down in the winter. Yeah, the blanket fort around the window unit where you have it piping it specifically into your fort. And then the cooling of the entire room is like a secondary process. Okay, so we are wiring. I'm just trying to do the basics of the basics. I'm trying to get the switch, the fuse breaker, or the circuit breaker. My brain sometimes works. The circuit breaker, the power switch, the power input, and the power supply. What we have is 120 volts coming in because I'm in North America. I can sit here and justify why our power systems are anemic all day. Basically, the thought of it is that you can get 240 volts in your house. You have to wire it up with a bunch of big wires. At any point in time, you're only subject to half of that amount of voltage going through your body. And so technically, it might be a little bit safer. But that's just the way we've done things in North America. That's just how we do it. And so we are wiring up to 120 volts and 60 hertz phase. 120 volts. I have access to one phase. I'm not trying to boil water or anything here. I mean, secondarily boiling water, I guess, through the electronics heating up. So what we have is a 120 volt to 24 and 12 volts in this power supply. This power supply is by a company called Vicor. Vicor makes flat pack, solid state, very well built power conversion modules. So we've got a 120 to 300 volt, and then a couple 300 volts to 12 and 24. They make a lot of current. They're solid state. There's not a ton of like, I don't know, excess stuff around here. They dump a lot of heat into the MOSFETs, from the MOSFETs rather, into the heatsink. And so I've created a little tiny, just whimsical cooling loop on this top radiator here, on this top heatsink here. It should be pretty funny when we get it to work. And hopefully this thing doesn't heat up too much when it's idling. That's part of what we want to test today. We want to idle it, and maybe we want to throw some current through it. I do have a very big resistor that I can put, well, a very low value big resistor with a big heatsink on it that we could potentially throw at it, just to give it a little bit of a workout and see how the thermals are with this thing. Because again, we could sit here and engineer everything. We could put all of it. We could put all of it up to equations and numbers and simulations and stuff. But at a certain point, I have to fight my urge to design everything and just build it. You just gotta, you gotta just build it. You just build it and figure out whether or not it explodes. You'll know if it explodes or not. I mean, once you build it. So I got a portable AC unit when I started working from home. It takes up a lot of space, but I die without it. I mean, when you need it, you need it. Fun fact is that peak-to-peak US wall power is around 340 volts. That's, isn't that through the 3 phases? We only get 2 phases coming out into residential. You got to go industrial to get that 3rd phase. I know some people that run like big CNCs in their personal awesome shops that I'll never have, do have like a 3rd phase run. What would a not solid state power supply be? I mean, like a transformer. This is kind of solid state. Whatever. The whole point is that these are high efficiency and they're all switching electronics and they're very compact for the amount of power that we get out of them. This one is not so compact, but it's fine. This is the most expensive power supply that I have. So it goes to burn the subs naturally. Oh, 340 volt peak to peak, but 120 volt RMS. Is that, I don't know if that's the case. RMS is 120, but peak is higher. I see, okay. The root mean square voltage is what these guys are talking about, and it represents the amount of work that the voltage can do. It's like area under the line kind of stuff. It better estimates the power that you're getting out of something. You'll have to look up root mean square yourselves because I haven't run into the definition of it in a while, so I'm probably misquoting quite a few things. Yeah, I can't check over your equations. All right, let's get some 18 gauge wire. We're going to use 18 gauge wire. We were using 14. 14 stressed out the ability of all of my equipment. The stripper barely stripped, the crimper barely crimped. Everybody was sad. I was happy though, because then the amount of current that this thing can draw wouldn't even touch heating up those wires. But we're going to press our luck now. I thought this was a math stream. I got to tell you, the effect of going live on Twitch is significant to the amount of brain work that I'm able to perform. The root mean square of the amount of braining that I can do is very small. And so we try to avoid running equations at all costs. Do I sacrifice the cassette vibe? What is that called again? Cassette core? Everybody's getting into like the early 90s cassette core aesthetics. I saw a really popular post that came up again on Reddit, and it was somebody who built their computer to like the cassette core standard. And so they had their monitor, and then they had their second monitor at an angle below it, and then they built a housing all around the 2 monitors. And it was an egregious waste of space. Looked neat when you put a bunch of monochrome graphics on everything, but ultimately, for use of the actual computer, I don't like it. What if I want my monitor to be a slightly different angle? Do I have to rebuild the whole thing? Here's a bunch of 18 gauge. This is not color coded in any way, shape, or form, but it is from computer shenanigans. So maybe we'll just use this stuff and we won't have color codes for anything. That's going to be hell if I have to rewire anything. It'll look cool, but if I need to rewire anything, I'm going to have to be very careful about tracing. Let's hold out on that one. Let's see if we can find the... I think maybe we should just use the normal power cord here. It's the same gauge wire. It's also still 18 gauge. Yikes. Like, this looks cool, but it's very annoying to troubleshoot, so let's not do that. What's this wire? What's this wire? Oh, this is it from the other direction. Why did I cut this one? Oh, this might be a miscolored... I've had these cables coming from China where on the plug end it got neutral and load mixed up. It was the opposite of what it should be. And that is very dangerous, because if your neutral and load are on the wrong parts and you're plugging it into something like a coffee maker, that might not come up, right? It might just be a simple switch. But if it's on something as complicated as a switching power supply, it can cause absolute chaos. I had it hooked up, the one that we found, I had it hooked up to my 3D printer. We did a whole like redo of the 3D printer and totally rewired it, and I found this very nice power cable, and I plugged it into the wall, and the screen, when I turn off the 3D printer, the screen would turn on for just a brief moment in time and then turn off again, and it kept doing that. I was like, what is that? Why is it doing that? What was happening is somehow through earth ground, it was charging something that was able to power the LEDs behind the screen for just a moment, because it was mixed up, because it was the reverse of what it should have been. The big blue cable, yeah, that's air. I bought a bunch of acrylic paint, and I want to mess around with the airbrush. But we're not going to have an airbrushing stream. I'm not going to, fall into the trappings of being a Warhammer stream. I don't do anything with Warhammer. I love backfeeding steppers powering the printer. I'm surprised there hasn't been more effort put into keeping that from happening on a lot of these. Well, that's just specifically mine and the boards that I'm buying, like boards like this, where when I move the bed of my printer, the LCD turns on. Yeah, there are ones that have the like diodes, because it takes multiples in order to prevent. That'll hopefully keep that from happening. This is not the right job for the Knipex. Do I have... I don't think I have something that specifically can cut thick cables. This thing certainly can't, even though it will have the reach. It'll leave a couple strands uncut. But I guess it's good for the initial foyer into the wire. Oh, it actually did just fine. So this is garbage. This is why you keep the scraps like this. A fairly nice cable here. Possibly there was something wrong with it, and that's why I unceremoniously cut it in half and threw it out. Don't move the rails too fast. You're good? Yeah. Typically. All right, so this is the most dangerous thing that I do here, is split cables apart. Now, there are things that you can buy that are essentially just a razor blade that's held it to the right depth, and you can just move it down here and then steal all the copper. But I don't have stuff like that. I just have a knife. So I need to just carefully score it. I don't need to go through. I don't need to get down to the wire. I just need a score line. And I got to be careful, because this thing will slip and it'll go directly into my flesh. My flesh is weak and spongy. But if I can do enough, I might be able to grab the cable and just pull it through, depending on whether or not this is twisted or not. We'll just do a little bit there. The more I do it, the more it compounds the error, and I have greater and greater chance to stab myself. Well, yeah, why put a bunch of diodes in to protect from a corner case like that? Even though everyone experiences that, right? Because you just end up moving parts of your printer with your hands. It just happens sometimes. But instead they go, nah, nobody will ever do that. So we'll just not include that and not pay for the diodes. So now all I need to do is peel away the rubber a little bit until it actually scores down that line. I might need to start it off though. The line will just guide the score as we go through. Sorry, that was, it'll guide the split the crack that we're sending down the spine of this cable. These are a little grippier. Okay, or it can break somewhere else entirely. Yeah, that's the most dangerous you'll see. Why would $100? No, 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 no. You can get something cheap, man. Not have to spend money. I picked up this one. I like it. I'm not clicking on links right now. I assume that that's a valid thing. I assume that's not the $100 one. This thing is not cooperating with me. Usually it's a little bit more elegant than this, but like I said, shop sometimes it just fights you. Wait a minute, hold on, I have a weird one. Let's get the weird one out. Let's take a look at the weird one and see whether or not that has the provisions I would need in order to split this cable all the way down. Although I have a feeling if I use like an assisted tool, it's going to do something terrible to the cable because it's actually a coaxial tool and not a power cable tool. Let's just see the weird wire stripper that I have. Everything's falling off the bench. I have this. This is not the right thing. I have this. Also not the right thing. I have these. Those aren't the right thing. One of this. Still not the right thing. Anybody else in here? I think that's it for weird wire strippers. These are all for coaxial though. I use flush cutters from the end of the cable before stabbing my finger and getting the right tool. Yeah. Well, no, the way that I do it is I ever so carefully caress the wire and then I betray it with the knife going down in a shaky, wobbly fashion so that if anything slips at all, the knife goes like this and I stab myself and then I go get something. You can 3D print one in like 10 minutes, assuming you have the razor blade on hand. These are very specific for coaxial cables. You can set a depth on it and it will strip out both pieces of insulation. This one has a reversible die in it that you can get different depths out of, and you basically just clamp it over the cable and go like this, and then you pull and it, bada bing, you've got your two strips on the coax. I've got multiples of these. I don't know why. But if I ever need to work with RF cables again, I guess I've got the provisions for it, but these are very specific to that type of cable. They're not something that I can pull the cable through and have it split. So this one is the more universal one, I think. Don't put your dick on that, on that. You know what? I just messed it up. I can't even say the same stuff that AVE would. Anyway, yeah, so these are all specifically for coaxial cables and they're designed to be moved around like that. The one I use is spring loaded, so it's not, oh, interesting. You're doing it wrong. I usually use, oh yeah, okay, I already got that one. Flush cutters from the end of the cable before stabbing my finger and going to get the right tool. See, I don't even have the right tool. It's too specific of a right tool. Oh, you linked the same type, yeah, for doing that round cut. But I'm not trying to do that. I mean, maybe we could actually start with that. I could actually get it started with that. Hold on a sec. Let me just get my windows organized again. So, I mean, this is going to go too far, but I'll just try it. Sometimes these will strip the things below the wires. That didn't go deep enough, but it might be enough that we can get a break started. Nope. Nope. Oh, yeah, here it goes. In spite of the jacket being flexible, it's very breakable. Very breakable. Yeah, you could also do that. You can use snips to kind of worm away at it until the wires are exposed. I'm also kind of ruining the wire by bending it too much. This is where I ruin my nails. Jeez. Why are you being such a jerk? There we go. So, once I get that, Question is, yep, there we go. Perfect. Sometimes that works. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes there's too much friction. But this is much easier than what I wanted to do. Yeah, just use your teeth. I think that my front teeth are chipped from stripping wires with them too much. What's up, Pitchy? There we go. All right. There's our wires. This is going to be our AC input. These look a little anemic. I guess they are 18 gauge. They seem a little anemic, but we're going to use them. We're going to see if they heat up. This is going to take 120 volts in to the switch and then to the circuit breaker. So I need a couple different lengths out of this thing. And we need a couple different fixtures, and I've got them all over here, all these crimps that go onto this. So I guess we'll just start from the plug and work our way in. Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna... I might run out of the right size of ferrule. I've got a whole new ferrule kit coming in the mail. The circuit breaker is rated for 3 amps. This is a very low value circuit breaker because I really just don't want this thing to blow up. So 3 amps that this Allen Bradley circuit breaker will allow. 3 amps at 120 volts is quite a bit of power though. My work is currently going through a cleanup. So I just said, send me any wire rolls you don't plan on tossing. Yeah, you never can have enough. The problem is with that is that if you tell them that and they send you a bunch of stuff, 4 amps will probably trip it after like 3 days. No, this is an Allen Bradley breaker. It should go off pretty immediately. 18 gauge at 3 amps should be totally fine. The breaker will trip before any wire melts. That's the goal. I have a giant load resistor that I have a huge load, chat. I have this giant load resistor that I would like to put on the power supply today, and we can see what kind of heat we get out of it. Check the data sheet. Breakers they use in planes that cost hundreds of bucks will still trip super late. We have the data sheet open, actually. Who do you think you're talking to? Who do you think? You come in here and you think, who do you think you're talking to? I promise we had it open, I swear. Where's no, that's not it. I had it open. Oh, here it is, miniature circuit breaker. Yeah, there it is, okay. Which one are we? What the hell is this thing? We haven't actually gone to the specific characterization of this unit yet. 1492. They say Columbus sailed the ocean blue. I have my doubts. 1492 SP. Why are there coaxial wire strippers under my hands? Go back in the drawer where you came from, never to be used again. Somebody will inherit those one day. Okay, 1492. Bonk. 1492. Columbus sailed the ocean blue. He something in the way, and then he fucked Pocahontas. I don't know how it goes. I don't know how that rhyme goes. What are we at? We're at specifications. 1, 2, 3 polls. But this is only down here. Rockwell Automation publication 1492. Is that on every single page? Dear God, why would you do this to me? Okay, let's find specific information about the breaker that we have. Look at this guy with his little goggles. Look at you with your little goggles over there. Okay, where is my index? Where's my index? The clicky part of this wheel I'm not very used to. You can click and kind of scroll up and down by accident. It's a little bit heavier of a center click than what I like. Although I guess I could use center click if I really want to do that. Yeah, I guess I could get used to that. I gotta learn all these new things because this mouse is just a little bit off from what I'm used to using. Regional circuit, RCD, 1492 RCD 1492D miniature. That looks like what we have. Okay, so where are the characteristic plots of this? Did they really break it up completely? Did you guys really? Hey, and there's the one. That's the one. That's the symbol. Minus and plus. Wait, what does that mean? I think it's power going from the top to the bottom, right? Trip curve C. Where does it sit? Trip curve C. Code C. Ah, Jesus, come on. Figure 50, C curve. Tripping from cold state. Oh, look at that. Minutes. I1 is the lower trip range. If the overcurrent condition is 1.04 times rated current, the breaker does not trip. So 104%. At a level of 105, the breaker trips according to the trip curve. I2 is the highest trip range. The breaker must trip at that level. The tripping time follows the tripping curve. Bro, I am tripping. I am on a curve. So multiple of rated current. So at 1.5 times current. So if 3, what is that, 4.5 amps, it's going to take 10 seconds, over 10 seconds for it to break. But if we have a sudden inrush of like 10 amps, it'll take 2 seconds, 1 second to break. Wait, why is DC cutting in here? 6 times, so yeah, okay. What's that, 18 amps? And it'll take 1 full second in order for it to trip. It's not instantaneous. That is a good advisory though, because I didn't consider that it would take that long, but at like slightly overcurrent conditions, it'll take minutes for it to actually pop off. Ugh. It not being instantaneous really tripped me up. I hate you. I hate you. All right, so let's put some connectors on, huh? This thing is going to be much more effective on these now that it's a small wire gauge. Although I have it adjusted to like the smallest size, and it's too long for the crimp. I hate myself for that. Gonad was saying that I could just sneak a I could crimp it and then cut it. Cut the excess wire that sticks out. So that fits much better into the crimp because it's a much smaller wire. There's still plenty of copper on this. It's still what was it rated for? Where did the jacket go? Did I throw the jacket? I tossed it. It's gone. It's gone. It's just gone. Okay, normal crimper or Presivia. It is almost Presivia sized. I think I might be able to get away with either 2 or 3 on the Presivia scale. Maybe the 2 because it's a little wider. Let's try it. This one is much better at smaller wires. Oh boy. Nope, that's too tight. Yeah, that doesn't work. I mean, that did actually make a pretty good crimp in the end, so maybe I could actually use this. I kind of trust it a little bit more. Here, take a look at it on the microscope. Without the wire falling out, it'll probably be more successful. And remember, this is a wiring and crimping stream. We're not focused exactly on what we're doing because it's a lot of just kind of busy work. New RC shocks coming in a few days. Yeah, I hope they're the right size too, because I never really did any deliberation about the sizing of the RC shocks. I just kind of looked at them and went, yeah, that'll do. So when we pointed towards the one listing, it seemed like they were the right thing, but I guess they've got multiple different lengths of those things. I don't know if it's going to damage the crimper. Do you think it'll damage the crimper? It might not. If that's enough to actually hug the wire in the way that I want it to, where it won't slip, that is a good crimp. That's a That's a real tight crimp. That'll definitely squish the wire in and get it to make good connection. Yeah, there's the Discord. If you need the Discord, that's a good place to ask longer-winded questions when I'm concentrating on stuff. You ordered the right one, but they sent the wrong one. Aha! Aha! Plot thickens. Like some kind of a plot stew. With little bits of plot in it. Well, what that'll hopefully do is net you a shifter that feels a little bit more expensive than the materials that it's made out of. With a little spring on top of that, it kind of keeps it honest. Because when I use the original, hold on, I'm burping. When I use the original like spring that was supposed to go there, the shifter would like back and forth a whole bunch. With the shocks there, you have something damping it, and it makes it feel a little bit more like you're actuating a cable, which is, you know, how the car shifter would work. All right, let's try the other crimper, because I think the Presidia is not quite suited for this work. Although, boy, that distance seems like way too bad. That doesn't seem right. The giant gap there. We did tighten this up, and I guess I could probably adjust this to be a little closer in, but I think this is the right tool for the job. It didn't do anything. That didn't do a thing. That only rounded out the back part of it. That didn't even crimp. Oh my God, my tools are shit. All right, let's try. Back to the Presidia. Let's take a look at that on the doobly-doo. So it did not crimp at all for the jacket. It bungled the other part as well. It is gripping the cable, but this seems bad, and I feel bad. I mean, if I use the circular one, but then they collide with each other and they don't end up crimping. And I could just take a pair of pliers and kind of squish it. I do want to get this part right, though, because this is the AC input to my whole system. And if this part is jank, then the rest of it is a write-off. You know, in DC systems, I don't really sweat this stuff as much, but these are like Spark certified, you know? I mean, that's okay. Having doctored it with the pliers, that means I'm gonna have to doctor every single one with the pliers. I have a feeling there's something that I'm just not doing over here. Like, is that distance alterable? I have Deltarune music stuck in my head. I have been playing too much Deltarune. I had my save file go cattywampus. Apparently, it didn't register that I wanted to move from part 1 to part 2 with that save. I did something in the menus that I guess I shouldn't have done. And so I did a whole bunch of like save editing and going through all this different stuff. No, this is a fixed distance. That doesn't move. I eventually got it all sorted out, though. It turns out I could just load the save. There was an option below where you go to the chapter 1 saves and load it up again. I got to be careful about that moving from chapter to chapter, because I literally just went through the menus to go to the next chapter, and I thought that it would be a smooth process. But for the jank that the game has, it is a neat little story, and the music is second to none. And so it's been the soundtrack in my brain for a little while. I guess I just got to do with the Presidia. The Presidia seems like it's kind of ruining them. We'll try, just for the sake of posterity, let me just try a strip of the round end. Because there's one of these is a round end that's really good for like DuPont connectors. These aren't set up like DuPont connectors, though. They have two wings that are the same length. So if it goes into a round press, I think they're just going to butt up against one another, and it's not really going to grip my wire. In which case, I'll still just have to come in and squish one down with a pair of pliers and then squish it from the side so that it overlaps and it grips that. You got to really grip. You got to get the gripper. Where's the gripper? Oh no, I threw out the gripper. I remember seeing the gripper as I was throwing stuff away. Oh, I don't know the gripper. This sticker that they put on top of spray bottles when they ship them in from like Amazon and stuff. It's called the gripper, and it's got a really veiny hand gripping a spray bottle really hard. It's a little phallic, if I'm honest. So we're going into Thursday here. Thursday. I got everything going on Thursday. Friday will probably be just still working on this stuff because it's going to take a lot longer than I thought it would. But I'm in the summer swing of streams. I'm going to try to get a haircut and do my due diligence. I still need to schedule to get the cap put on my tooth. That's not going to work. It's too small. Too small on that one. So we're stuck with this one, which is still a little bit too small, but I can position this thing like that. And then the wire goes in. See, I need to 3D print some of those guides that help you like position things in the crimper. What I do is I put my thumbnail on it. I'm putting my thumbnail on this piece of metal to the distance where the jacket is between the two forms, because it's got two different crimping forms on it. So it's two pieces of metal. So you just line it up with the seam like that and then go in from the side here, try not to catch the little ends until my thumbnail hits. And then, oh geez, it's gonna take, go through with the crimp. And then of course it's locked in because it's the wrong size. When it's the wrong size, it kind of grips stuff weird. And that actually almost worked. We're poking out a little bit up here. So I maybe need to back it in a little. That is a really good crimp on the, actually overall, I give this one, oh, nope, never mind. Oop, oop, oop. Bum, bum, bum. I didn't get deep enough into it. I failed. I failed you. I'm so sorry. This would have been an ideal crimp if the jacket would get all the way up into this space right here. I guess I just didn't go deep enough with the thumbnail. This is, again, why I need, like, tools to help me out with this sort of thing. So as long as we can just get that right, we should be good for this crimp. That should be all right. We're wasting them, though. I'm going to run out of these specific sizes. I wish I could go shorter with this, but I can't. This is where Gonad's method is better. And technically I shouldn't be twisting these, especially to go into the ferrules, because sometimes if it untwists, all the pressure will be relieved and it'll fall off. But I force a habit, I shouldn't be doing that. So how else can I get these to line up? There's a little bit of resistance between the two crimps, so maybe that'll be good. Don't twist the gonads. Remember your gonad. Do not twist. When I talk about gonad, I mean flatulent gonad, who's a streamer. All right, give that a little bit of a squeeze. And then the wire, the thing, and then I push it forward until it doesn't go forward anymore. It hits up against that second crimp. Give it a squeeze. And then we take a look at this one, and hopefully this is the successful one. See how it bends it just a little bit? It's shaped like that. I can bend it back just a tiny bit. That is the stuff. That's the stuff. I got a little bit of the jacket sitting ahead of this crimp. This is biting in vertically on it, which I don't particularly enjoy, but there is a lot of pressure on the strands. And what that's going to do is allow for a cold weld between the metals. So I think that's okay. The crimper is just a little bit the wrong size. The one that's supposed to do the bigger stuff isn't really, this is not the right size for it. And then this one makes it all loose. So, and I don't know if I can really adjust it at all. It doesn't really seem like I can. I don't know why this thing is such a, like, it doesn't close all the way. I guess it's not supposed to, but still. Maybe there's something that I'm neglecting. Okay, so back to what we're doing. I need to put one of those sleeves on this thing, but This only needs to be so long, so this is the ground lug. This will go pretty much just right in front of itself, so I'll just give it a little bit of length, and we'll cut it here. Strip that. Actually, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have stripped that, because I got to get this thing over the front. Although this doesn't technically need to be shielded. This is it's a ground wire. It's not... It's designed to be touched, you know? I'll put it on anyway, just to be consistent. At least this stuff slides on the wire because the wire isn't too big. So that's that one. We need a ring loop on the other end, and I don't have anything to go over the ring loop, but the ring loop doesn't have the ability to grip the jacket. So I guess we're just going to get one of the rings here. Let's get one of the smaller ones. Some with a smaller lug like this. This'll do. Assuming that I can find the right washer for it. Actually, wait, it needs to go around the bolts that do maker beams. So let me find a maker beam bolt. I need to get one from below. Gotta make sure it goes through. Oh, my knees. My crackling knees. So, just one of these guys. And then one of its nuts. Actually, if I use one of... Well, no, because I want... Yeah, I'll just use a normal one. Assuming that I can find a normal one. Huh. I don't think I ordered a kit of the nuts. I need to order a kit of the nuts. Let's see. Stainless steel maker beam nuts. There's one. This one has a washer built in. I guess that'll be okay. We'll couple it with something that'll penetrate the anodization. Okay, so there's that. And then I need something that's going to crimp that. And I guess that's going to be one of the 17 different types of crimping tools that I've got out right now. Actually, it's none of them. It's going to be the one that I put back in the drawer with a little lump in the middle. This guy. These right here are what's going to crimp that. And this is just in case I touch this thing and I'm charged with static electricity, just so that it has a path to flow down on, and so some of the other safety capacitors have a path of ground to follow. Realistically, I would like it to be a much larger wire, but whatever. And technically we already had one built out of larger wire. And then shrink wrap, which is down here. I didn't think this wiring job would incorporate literally everything. Yeah, I have a reserve of like every type of hardware except for the specific one that I'm actually looking for at the moment. It is just the curse of stuff like this. The stuff that you use the most goes away. And you forget to order it, which is the situation I'm in. Geez, you would think I had a salad for lunch. Can you believe that? A salad, me, a salad. Who could believe such strange things? I had a salad for lunch, and it is now repeating on me for some reason. Now this lug I would have no problem soldering because this lug is getting strain relief via shrink wrap. And so if I soldered this, I could keep it quick enough that it wouldn't wick up the wire. There is the danger of that happening though when you solder lugs like this. Really, in a wiring harness in general, you really just shouldn't be soldering stuff. It's not good. Oh, I got that in the wrong spot, kinda. I can follow up with a second little press in on that. That should be good enough. Do a pull test. Yeah, that's good. We've got pretty good grip on the wire, putting pressure on it. And that goes like this. And then we hit that with this guy, which is the most I've gotten out of a $30 purchase ever. This heat gun can do a variety of different heat gun tasks. Mostly it's just there for the prevention of smoke in my shop by me burning these shrink wrap sleeves. Keeps me from burning the sleeve. It gets to just the right temperature for them to shrink to their fullest. And nothing but good stuff to say about that. I really think a thicker wire should have been in order here. I think this is 18 gauge, but the jacket is very thin, but it is from a power cable, so I guess it's what we're doing. I'm going to continually question myself on this, because like, look at the size of these lugs. Look at the size of those lugs. And yet, I'm then trusting it to this thin piece of copper. Oh, I need to bend out the centerpiece. The little nub here is way too aggressive on these. So we need to actually just bend that out just a tiny, tiny bit. Now what am I going to use to do that? I guess maybe a flathead screwdriver. Because if I snap these in the way they are right now, they are going to want to break the wire when you unsnap them. And the whole purpose of snapping these on is so that I have a wiring harness that I can disengage if anything goes wrong without, busting my face open to do it. So if I can just bend that piece without penetrating my hand with a flathead screwdriver, I will be not happy, will never be happy, but it'll be in alignment with my goals. I guess these are thick, so I need to, well, plugging it in, just the act of plugging it in will open it up a little bit, but I think I need to shove a screwdriver down its gullet and just bend it just a tiny bit. Yeah, the flat-headed screwdriver is a security Torx defeater, a bending form. It's anything but a screwdriver that you actually want to use, right? The type of chisel. Oh boy, I felt a click. I felt it click. No, no. I'm never gonna get it back. Push it to the side a little bit. No. Oh, that was the solution, was taking the pliers and just giving it a little squeeze. Give it a little squeeze and everything kind of bows outwards when you do that. That was not the solution. I think I'm just going to need to take a pin tool and put it up to there. Oh, come on. Fucking thing sucks. You play us out. What does that even mean? Jeez, there we go. These things are ruthless. I mean, it's good that they stay on there, but damn. Okay, step 2, well, would be to get the nut in there, which I can't right now. That's too much effort right now. So we'll just put this on the end of the wire, and we got to make another one that goes to the power supply itself. These really do seem like they're too thin. These wires are too thin, but I've got to live with this. I'm gonna live with this. We're gonna pull through today. We're actually gonna get this thing powered today. So we make a second one of these. Get another one of these ring terminals. This one will go back to the power supply, so that we lay the power supply down next to the item that we are wiring up. The reason that I'm doing this is so that in the future, if I have to go into this thing, I have enough wire length to actually separate out the components and work on them. So I can take this stuff back to the shop bench, move it over like this, and get to all the stuff behind it. This is something you got to consider. Unless you're building like a cell phone and everything is the minimal possible distance inside of your enclosure, it's good to give yourself just a little bit of leeway in order to actually work on your hardware. Tools, nothing but tools. They're everywhere. Fools, nothing but fools. All these glorious dimwits. All right, this thing is just nigh on useless. Just put this over here. Didn't need to look for it for 20 minutes last stream. Jeez. JSTs I'm not even using yet. Yeah, and like flathead screws in general are just a curse. And the flathead screwdriver is useful for anything that needs to be pried or worked away or, you know, any other job but screwing a screw. Unless you're like working on an old house. No matter what I do, things just do not get organized. Piles upon piles of things, huh? All right, now I need to do this. We've already got a clean end because we used this thing to cut it before. So I'll just hit that and get a little bit of exposed. I shouldn't give it a twist. I should put it in like that. All the way up to the jacket, but not beyond. Although technically, if I am crimping it twice, I wonder if I could get it around the jacket. I didn't get a piece of shrink wrap because I'll be able to slip it on from the other end. Give the front a crimp, and then give the back a crimp. Give us a crimp. There we go. And it's really ugly, but it is holding on to the wire, so I'll give it that much. This needs to be bent a little bit with pliers. It didn't quite elegantly do the business of crimping. Let's give that a squeeze so that everybody's held in. There we go. It's good enough. Good enough. If I get a piece of shrink wrap over this, supposedly it won't. See, okay, this is getting loose. There we go. Just give that a little tighten up and then it'll stick in the air where I put it. Okay, no more wandering. If I put a piece of shrink wrap over this, that might give it enough additional flexibility or inflexibility that it doesn't wear away at the joint, but I'm a little wary of it. I don't know if that'll exactly work. It's what we're doing though. It's what we're doing. Boy, I am dumb. I could have done this quietly without having to do the motor mouth routine, without having to explain what I'm doing, without having to defend my position. I could have just gotten through all this stuff without turning my brain on, and it would have taken me 10 minutes. But I decided not to, and I'm doing it here with you guys. Having to be alone with my thoughts. Well, no, lines and squares is here for now. Heat. Heat. Heat from the heat gun. I activate my heat gun. I'm color matching the shrink wrap just because I have it. Green is not a color that I really use that often with shrink wrap, so might as well. All right, so those share a lug. That also goes to the case. The streamer must stream. Yes, I actually have some very large shrink wrap. Let's see if it's actually reachable back here. It's like packed pretty far away, so I guess I can't show it to you guys. I have shrink wrap that's enormous, and it's thick. It's like the normal shrink wrap, but it's huge. But at a certain point, well, for batteries too, for lithium-ion batteries, there's these huge. Oh, where did that go? Damn it! The first thing that I do is drop a bolt on the floor. It's under the stool. Perfect. Okay, back onto this thing. I'm fighting being a sweaty mess right now. It is just one of those days, huh? All right, so these two go together. And they go on this rail down here, but I need to disengage the bar in order to put the fastener on it. And I want the bar to end up in the same spot, so I'm just not gonna bother with it at the moment. But this has to go the same distance as everybody else, and I'm measuring it by putting this thing down on the desk. I really just, why am I out of room? Why am I out of space again? What's going on here? Everything is just drifting over and taking over my desk. All right, so these are gone. Okay, so we're going from about here to here. And I'm just taking it as like a loose path. So that's the distance that I want that to run. When it comes time to put this power supply in, that'll be going to here. So that length of cable is just going to have to get shoved up into the enclosure. There was a post where somebody did a mistake about ordering them and got too large of shrink wraps. I lolled until I saw the ordering page. Those can be cryptic at best. Strange ordering stuffs. I mean, you can take that big shrink wrap and just put it over like an enclosure and environmentally protect your electronics. So that's that length. These are going to be similar, but they're going to go here. So we're going to kind of twist that around and have it follow that length until we get to the control panel. So it's that one to be about there. This is very approximate, but it ends up being accurate in the end. And then you can kind of massage things into being the right lengths. So there's that one. And then this one is the same length, and it's the only neutral length that I need. That other scrap of black wire is going to go from the switch to the... Oh, wait, no, that doesn't go direct. Duh. Oh, I ruined everything. Hold on a minute. This one does go direct, though, so this one's the one that I actually need to be in this length. Let's hope that this length I can use as a secondary. I cut the wrong thing. That one goes direct. This one goes direct. This one goes up to the switch, which is just about the right length. I actually think I want that full length because this is going to be back here, I think. What distance is that going to be? Yeah, that'll be back a little bit from where it is. So maybe I can get away with something like this. It's got to go up, in, and then this one goes back to the power supply. So I think that's going to be the right length in the end. Okay, so that one's for the switch. I'll put that there. And then these three go into the power supply. So we need to put ferrules on these three ends. Do I have the right size ferrule? That's the other part. I think people advised me on how to pronounce that word. I think greens might work here. That's a shame because using the 14 gauge wire, I could have had the black ferrules, which look better. I'm sad about that I couldn't crimp the 14 gauge wire. 14 gauge would have been overkill, but I mean, that's the kind of kill that we do here. We kind of do overt kill, not really overkill. All right, there's that, and then we need to get this length. What is that length? Hold on. So that's already that long. I need it to be to here-ish. I gotta figure out the good way to measure this though, because it's already, it grips there and then goes back to there. So I think I actually have it at the right length. It's just, it's hard to figure out. Okay, so once you get it though, you can go through a ton of them. Just like that, without twisting. I gotta get this over without fraying any of the wires. I don't want like a single strand to come out of it. And then that goes not quite to the end, so I need to lengthen this just a little bit. Too far, right there. Oh, and then the whole thing falls off. All right, my endorsement of this product is starting to get a little dubious. That, and we take it in just a little bit there. Give it just a little bit of extra length. That might not be enough. I think that's what I had it set to before. Yeah, it took like a hair. Okay, so we go just a little bit beyond that. The problem is this adjustment is literally just a piece that pinches on. So if what I did just then is I over pinched it and it fell off. And I was like, oh no, what have I done? There, that might be the right, that didn't remove the jacket of the wire. I don't really think I have a second chance on this. So let's go to the regular wire strippers and just carefully clean up. It's like the Nip-X is really good until it doesn't work, and then it's really bad. And unless you have a lot of disposable excess, it can get you in a situation like we just had where things are not quite right and not quite recoverable with that tool. Careful now. Not having it twisted and getting all the strands in is difficult, but what I want to see out of this thing before I crimp it is just a little bit of the wire sticking out of the front there. That's what I like to see, just a little tiny bit. Now, hopefully, on this smaller size, this is aggressive enough. We may need to, I already have it turned up all the way. This is already turned all the way up. Wait a minute, no, plus is that direction. This is turned down. This is on the lowest setting. Well, let's try it and see what it does. I'm not actually totally sure if that's spec. I want the wire to go down the length of the entire ferrule. I don't know if it's okay to have it be a little bit shorter. I mean, obviously having it flush would be good. And if I need it to be flush, I will take the flush cutters and cut it off. But having just a little tuft of wire sitting at the end means that the entire ferrule is going to crimp down on the wire. And usually the things that these go into are squishing it from above and below. So let's do a little pull test on that. I think it's holding. I didn't see it retract. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so that tightness is good. There we go. So let's see if the other ones will follow in suit and be as painless as that one was. That one was still kind of painful though. Damn you, Toby Fox, and your ability to make a melody. He makes a really good melody. It's stuck in my frickin' head. Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good. And that's the thing is, like, if I had hundreds of these wires to do, this tool would be amazing for it. In the end, I don't, but I wanted to give it a try. I don't like the green. The green's going to clash with the look of everything else. I know I shouldn't. It's like complaining about the worst thing, but... Okay. So that's those three. Now the black wire goes from the thing into... Oh yeah, it's way too long because it's not measured yet. Because it actually goes into the circuit breaker. These bins of things are all over the place. Okay, so let's loosen these and get the right wires and the right things. The furthest one away is ground. Then L2 or neutral. And then the load, which is the black wire. Okay, those are all scooched in. And then we come over here and we go to our various things. So one of the things that we are going to is the circuit breaker, which is situated here. So this is this length. That'll do. And that gets another ferrule. Gotta find one. I think I have a bunch of greens in here. I think I've got the right ones. Looking at the spec, it says the same length as the ferrule, but it's better to be longer rather than shorter. I see. Yeah, what does it need the whole length for? I guess just to grip, so it's got grippies. It's got its grippers out. Try to put tools away as I use them because I'm out of room. There's no space. And then I'm looking for my tweezers. I don't know what happened to them. Why are they not right there? Because they are right here. Aha. Oh, that's the guy who's here for the chimney cleanup. The HOA said our chimney was dirty. Stupid. It's so stupid. All right, get the ferrule over there. Get this over here. There we go. That goes into here. Screwdriver on that. So in is up top, out is on the bottom. That's apparently the way that we're supposed to be doing that. There's the bottom one there. Now we need to do two of the whatchamacallits, these guys here. So that strip, bring it all the way in. I used to run the assorted boxes for a while. It just got so annoying for searching for the right color every time, so I ended up buying bags of 1,000 for each size. Interesting. So you just bring out, that might actually be more convenient. If I organized the Husky organizer down there, the Musky Husky organizer that I've got under this bench, I could have little bins full of the ferrules. And so I could say, oh, this is that size, so let's bring up that bin, and then I just have all the things that I would need. That would maybe be a much better way to do it, huh? Although the little kits are kind of portable. It's, I don't know, the stacks of the kits take up less space for me. Yeah, you just grab the right box and you got a ton of stuff. We are looking for the E's, for these, and it's this size, and I'm going to need a bunch of them, but I'll take them out one at a time. And then for that, we are using Presivia, even though it's slightly the wrong size. And then this is all the way down to the smallest length that it'll do. That's kind of close to what we need. It's a little long for what we need, but it's just about what we need. If you don't have enough stripped wire in the ferrule, it'll break where the wire ends. Interesting. Oh, because you're crushing it with a screw. Yeah. I see, I see. That makes sense. All right, and now I have to somehow sense when this thing is at the right distance, which is where the jacket collides with that front crimp piece. Looks good. I mean, it does look like it was in too small of a thing, but this will carry all the current without exploding. Jacket over the back of it. And now we put two jackets on so that I can make sure that I'm doing the right thing. These jackets are meant for thicker wire. I can tell by how easily it slides back and forth. Yeah, it should probably, I mean, you know, going from 14 to 18, 16 gauge, 17, 16 gauge would probably be the right size. But we're going to whatever the hell this thing had, which is maybe not quite 18. I think it is 18. It's just got a thin jacket over it. Oh wait, gotta get this. It'll be fine for one-time install with a screw, but after that it's gonna be super brittle, and that's why you want to avoid Yeah, you want to avoid any weakness in an industrial system. We are strong. Don't tell anybody I twisted the end. Just don't tell them. Just don't tell anybody. Okay, this in here. This with the thing ready to go, good. Shrink wrapping these would probably be a little bit more satisfying than using the weird plastic. This feels like it's going too far. No, I guess that's butting up against it. Yeah, looking good. All right. Persevia, you've done it again. PR 3254. Wasn't expensive, but it certainly is a decent tool. All right, so which one is load? Guys, can you identify my load? As well as the police have. L is all the way out on this end. So L goes here. Get all your L's in alignment. Wait a minute. Before I clock an L, I'm gonna widen it out a little bit with the screwdriver. Not that one. Nice load, bro. See if I can bend that center one out a little bit more without stabbing myself with a screwdriver. Hold on, let's get little tiny. I mean, the screwdriver's hardened, and if I try to pry it too much, it will end up hurting my screwdriver. But I would like to be able to unplug this thing without shouting at it. And then open this up. Okay, let's see if that works. God, get out of my head, Charles. Oh boy, that's not gonna want to come out. So the thing is, like, this plug, I forget what they're called again. This type of computer plug is meant to carry a lot of current. So these are thick tabs, right? But these are meant to go into this thickness and grip this thickness. And this is like nothing compared to that. So they're having a lot of trouble plugging in. And I have to kind of pull the stops out and do these weird things. Once I get it to plug in once, though, it will have bent the metal. And so I can do flat pliers and just save my fingers. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Jeez. The audacity of this little thing. Okay, that's good enough for us. Bring that back down. Now the switch, how thick is the switch? Thick as a bowl of oatmeal in winter. Brought the plug under these tubes. I guess I'll go under the tubes, I don't know. These are thin, so this will just go on without manipulation. Now, if I take this thing apart, and, well, technically this should go to the common pin. Are you kidding me? Oh, I put the wrong size on the wire. Son of a... Okay, well, okay, all right. No, that's cool. That's cool. It's totally... I'm not... You know, you know, I expect more from you, but no, it's fine. It's fine. It really is just fine. It's completely fine. This is a crimping stream, not a finish the wiring stream. You cut me deep. You cut me deep. I wasn't asking for a boxing match. I came in here with my hat in my hand. There's that. Presivias right here. And find the appropriate size. Which is this one. Is it being one of those days? Not yet. No, actually, today's a lot smoother than the last stream. Tuesday's stream was an example of it being one of those days where everything just kind of fights you and you just kind of power through it. In this case, we're doing a lot better. We're doing a lot better. I'm happy. I gotta give it just that. I gotta do it. It's just fraying all over the place. I can't handle it. That one is still fraying all over the place. I'm catching stuff with the little pieces of wire that make up the stranded wire. Shit. Okay, till it stops. Give it more grippers than you think. Oh. There we go. Yep, looks pretty good. This actually... still the wrong size. Some days the light does not shine upon us. There, good enough. It was one of the ones that was meant for the other crimp, I guess. I don't know if this is like too big or if it is covering up the metal, which is the goal here. So now that goes into the common port of the switch. Okay, so there's one. Next one is from here to the power to the breaker. Actually, before we do that, we should do the neutral line. This one goes here. And then the neutral sort of loops around. So that's the right length. Let's get that one done. And then this and this. This is looking small enough, yes. Yes. Good. My day is to touch it and find that it needs repair day. That's Tuesday. That's what we do Tuesday. We run into all those problems on Tuesday, and then I can spend my Wednesday sorting them out, either just mentally or physically, and then we come back on Thursday and things hopefully go a little bit more swimmingly. We're setting up to do a test. I'm going to get my big resistor load, and we'll have to make a wire for that. See if we don't blow everything up with that. That one should probably get silicon jacketed wires, to be honest. I mean, I guess we can plug this thing in and give it a no load. See how it does. Oof, that one was rough. Still good enough to use. And then I also still need to open it up a little bit. That goes down in here. Oh man, come on. As it gets further back, it fights me more. So let's use the pliers on it to get it to the right size. You know, if you order the right part, you don't run into this problem. Oh, oh my God. This is a problem where you have to bend the actual curl around part to be the right size. Yeah, I know, you know those words, but we've never really put them into practice. There. Now those are sort of bent out to work in this system. One more wire. That's this guy right here. So I need to find an offcut of the black wire that is that distance. This is all we have left. I think. I don't know. Is there another length that I put somewhere? They cut and it fell. I don't see it. I don't see it around. I guess I could just make it out of the white wire if it's just going from one to the other like that. But this is the wrong color. The color coding is all wrong. Unless there's a scrap piece that's just sitting up here that I didn't notice before. Nope. We should be so lucky. See if there's one on the floor. Ugh. Nah, all right, we're just going to use the white wire there. Since it's a short jump and it is a different color to what wire's coming in there and providing current, I guess, but it's also sending the wrong message. But I don't think a regulatory commission is going to bust into the door and start beating me to death for using the wrong color on this. All right, so one of them goes into this crimp, so we'll do the crimp first. The press fit first, this little guy right here. And these don't need to be massaged like the input ones, because the input ones have these huge tabs. These tabs are a little bit closer to the right size, so they're not really going to limit us. Okay, there's that, there's that. This can go on from the other direction. And then the Persevia. You know, these kinds of streams were never great. They're tough, they take a lot out of me, and we don't get a whole lot done because doing things with crimps the proper way takes a lot of time and consideration, takes a lot of explanation on my part, but I'm getting better at them. We're getting better at these, and they're getting slightly easier as time goes on. And you know, part of this is that I'm trying to make this last. I don't want this thing to instantly disintegrate. If I were doing like a one-off little thing and it was just this cutesy little project that had to exist on the desk for a limited amount of time, yeah, I could take all kinds of like ill precautions and do all kinds of stuff that's totally wrong and has just like a wire frayed sitting on the end of the thing. That's not what we do here. We like to do things the proper way. All right, let's just see if this works for the length. And then I need, oh, that's way too long. That's okay though. I had extra wire planned for it anyway. This is a green. So we need to find probably the last green in this kit. I'm wondering if I just throw out this entire kit when the new one comes. Spending the time to make good connections and doing things properly hopefully will resolve diagnostic issues. This is such a complicated system that it is good to rule out entire systems because of the precautionary stuff, because you did stuff to, you know, to spec. That's a good point. And then I'm actually going to use, well, I don't need to use the flush cutters on these. I could just flush cut that little end off, but I think there's plenty of room inside of this. Yeah, there's plenty of room. I don't need to do that. And actually, this is the area that it needs to go in. Screwdriver. Oh no, it goes on the bottom piece. Okay. For posterity's sake, I'm going to keep this facing upwards for the test, just so that I can get to it if I really need to, which I hope I don't. Go. So 0 is down, I think. Can't see it. You guys will have to be my eyes. Yeah, okay. So off is down, on is up. Do I have like a 24-volt lamp? Not really. A 12-volt lamp? Not really. There is a fuse on this. What are the specs here? It's written on the front. I can't read that. So output 1 is 24, 12.5 amps. So this is a 24 volt power supply. 120 volts in, 24 hour. So terminal 10 is positive. What's plus sense? 12? Oh, over there. What is that? I don't think we have those. Unless I'm supposed to wire it up to these guys. They are labeled. Why is that a... I don't think this has that feature. I don't think this is power sensing. Maybe it is, but there's no connector there. So out plus 16 is minus out. 15, 14, 13, 12. What are 16 and... Oh, I see 10, 16, 10, 16. Okay, so it's plus, minus, plus, minus. Well, those are kind of close together. That's a little weird. So 16 minus out, 10 is plus out on those two terminals. So I guess I can power it up with no load. It's a smart switching power supply that's very, very efficient. Does it say what efficiency it is over here? Current 3.6 amps at 120 volts. That's pushing it for our circuit breaker. 300 watt power supply. You know, you could just get a computer power supply to do these kinds of jobs. It's much easier. I bought this off of eBay because it's super weird and cool. It's going to work on my RISC-V board, but I see you're doing something that will most likely work. Let's put work in quotes. I have no promise anything I do with my RISC-V board will work at all. Hope you have better success. This is a solid-state power supply. I say solid-state. I don't know if that has a lot of meaning. It's a Vicor power supply. They've got very advanced power conversion modules. They're the people at the Haji station that Luke's trying to get to. Anyway, they're in Massachusetts. No, yeah, Massachusetts. They're in Hanover. Very, very good power supply. It's very efficient. It gets kind of warm, I think, but these are good. Like a lot of like scientists buy these things for powering lasers and stuff. So, you know, I'm something of a scientist myself. I don't know. With this haircut, I can't quote stuff like that. I look weird. But like, I figure this would be a pretty good foot forward to put in to burn the subs. So I get some nice, expensive power going into my thing. We've wired it with kind of small wires. I don't know. I think I want larger wires on it, but I guess these will do. And this is the first time I'm powering it up. Yeah. Spider-Man! No, but so look, this is the first time I'm powering this thing since I bought it. And I don't know when I bought it. I was in a totally different living situation than I am right now. I think I had a job. I was living it up in Washington, D.C. So powering this thing up is going to be a little bit nerve-wracking. We don't know what tomorrow may bring. It might be sunshine, maybe rain. But as for me, Okay, let's get a power cable over here. I'm gonna put all these crimpers up top where they live, out of the way. Everything is crimped nicely. I'm pretty confident about, but it's very simple wiring. I just wanted to make sure that it was like, you know, laser tight. Everything was just super tight. And as for me, I'll remain the same. Okay, all these things over here. What I'm doing now, this is part of the procedure, everybody. So for those that don't know, for those that don't really work with AC a whole lot and don't really know what's going on here, the reason that I'm being very slow and reluctant to kind of put everything into effect is because I'm being cautious and I'm trying to make sure that all the little greebles of cable stuff are all out of the way, so that I can very quickly prevent some kind of an event from hurting my stuff. So we get rid of debris, we get things out of the way, and then we plan for whatever the hell is about to happen. So when I power this thing on, more than likely what'll happen is nothing. It'll just start to get a little bit warm. And we'll be able to see that on the thermal imager. It'll get a little bit warm, and we'll just sort of move into testing it. Or something will get hot. And if something heats up very quickly, that's when I have to snap into action and prevent whatever it is from happening. So either flipping this, which is kind of tough to flip. I don't know why is it easier to turn on than off? Is that on? That's on with the red. And then that's off with the green. Yeah, that's a 0 and that's a 1. Okay, so that's on. But reaching over here to turn this off in the event of something weird going on is going to be tough to do. At times, if you're working with stuff like this, it is advised to get a plug strip and use that as your switch. I know exactly where the fire extinguisher is. It's right there. It's right there behind the saw. Buried under cables next to the payphone. I don't actually think anything bad is going to happen. We've got the multimeter in the wings ready to go. Let me get a cable for this, an actual power cable. I don't know where all my power cables went. Let's see. There is a massive one that's over here. I guess we could use the big massive one. I don't really like this one. It's a little too heavy duty. This is for like a 1,000-watt power supply. This thing's crazy. It's just way too thick. Okay, we're turned off. Make sure we've got... Yeah, neutral is over there. Okay. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Plug this into the wall. Anything explode? Okay, that was step 1. Right now, this switch right here is holding everything back. Anyone? Are we good? No smoke yet, no explosion yet. This multimeter has been in a fire before. The electronics in it are from a multimeter that burned in a fire, and I bought on eBay because eventually, I guess it must have been like a sunspot or like a tiny, like a neutron got into the microcontroller and blew up my multimeter. So the electronics from this one have actually been in a fire. Okay, so switch number 2. You guys ready? I'm not. Okay, let's see. .96 volts. That's probably down to my multimeter being a little weird. I do not hear a screaming noise that was characteristic of my old Vicor power supply. I wonder how they got around that. Wonder how they manage that. Heat in the system. It's anodized, so it should show up on the thermals. Okay. Yeah, I threw out the one that was dead, but I put in the PCB of the other multimeter. So this multimeter technically has been in a fire. I should probably keep the magnet away from that circuit breaker because that's... Oh. All right, so we're not putting a load through it right now. This thing is just holding 24 volts on its outputs. It doesn't have anything going on, and it is not making a high-pitched squeal, which is what the power supply that I designed made. So I don't know what's going on in this one that wasn't going on in the power supply I designed. I was using the same technology. It was much smaller. I made a thin power supply that output 12 volts at something like 52 amps. It was an incredible power supply. I powered my whole computer off of it. I want to build one of those again, but I'd make it a 1,000-watt power supply. But for some reason, when the load wasn't there, it was flipping to a frequency as such that you would hear "ee" coming out of the thing. Coil of cable in a bucket of water. As much as I would love that, I do have my own solution for that sort of thing. Other than a coil of cable in a bucket of water. And I'll get it out in just a minute. We're taking it easy. We're taking it slow with this thing. I'm going to let it get up to an ambient temperature with no load so that we know what it's doing. And it appears as though when Burn the Subs is powered down, as of right now, I would be okay with this thing not being powered. Although you can see the thermals are kind of shifting around a little bit. There is some temperature in it now. But it's not above skin temperature. So I would actually be okay having this thing powered up on the wall. And it would just be ambient cooling. 10 ohm power resistor across it. We're going to have to calculate how much power my dummy thick load is going to put into this thing, or extract from this thing. Let's put the heat shrink gun away. Oh, jeez. Heat shrink gun is like threatening to fall off the table and ruin my day. 2 separate coils of cable in a bucket of water with a sprinkle of salt will be a von Hoffman apparatus. And you get hydrogen and oxygen bubbles. Add soap, and you get explosive bubbles. Yeah. Well, no, the flatulent gonads hydrogen bucket is actually for heat mitigation. If you get a coil of wire that is going to be your very low ohm load, you throw it into a bucket of water, and it'll absorb all of the heat as it gets glowing hot. It is a very off the cuff, I'll use nice words, off the cuff way to do it. And it is fun to look at, and it's funny, and I would love to do it, but I already have a dummy load that'll we'll have to calculate how much the dummy load is going to stress out our system, and then we'll put some wires to it. No, it's almost closing time here. I got a little bit left in me. We got another hour. Streams have been a little bit short. I've been trying not to kind of like burn out on all this stuff, so I've been saving very simple projects with you guys so that we don't get too crazy. We got a big ass motor. That's a decent load too. I have some universal motors from drills, and that would actually be the right voltage, but it would be a screaming little thing, wouldn't it? Well, Willow's barking at the guy who's apparently... Oh no, those are the hovercrafts. The hovercraft races have come to town. It's that day of all the yard service. So this is fairly easy to forget that it's even powered up. And when this thing is powered up, there will be other, like the Raspberry Pi is going to be sucking down a little bit of current. The motor controller will probably be on, just not active, because the Pi will see that I'm not online. And then like all this stuff will be powered up, and I might put like an LED display that'll do just random ambient patterns. It'd be cool to tie that into something cool, but I don't know if we'll be able to. And then the VFD will probably be giving statuses anyway too. during that whole thing. And then we got status lights on the side. So there's going to be like little things that it will be powering up. So there will be a light draw on the power supply, but it seems as though this will be just fine with low load, just in a general environment. So I'm going to turn it off. Now that would be weird if I turn it off and it goes and sends sparks everywhere. Actually, we'll keep the breaker like this for this next test. All right, so dummy load, where are you? This is something that I have to go find. I have a couple of them actually. I have several. So let me see if I can find one of them. The one I want is the one that I thermal epoxied a bunch of resistors to. I was thinking of making a water-cooled dummy load, but not like a wire in a bucket sense, like actually have like a pump and a radiator. For a while it lived all the way out here, but I don't think it's there anymore. It's in like a different bin. Oh, here it is. It was right in front of my face. We'll have to find a pigtail for it. All right, get ready for some math. Six ohms, 50 watts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 6-ohm resistors in parallel. I'm just going to pull up a Java calculator because I don't feel like doing the math. This is embarrassingly dumb for me, but I'm doing it. Where's my mouse? This is like amazingly stupid. This is not something to be proud of. 9. Six, 7, 8, 9, 6, 6, 6, 6. The number of the devil. 6, 6, 6, and 6. Search catalog. What? Oh, is it already calculated out? Yeah. Yeah, so 9 in, wait, why is it R1 through R9? There's no R10. Why is it 0.6? A sixth of an ohm. 6 over 9. So at 24 volts, V is equal to IR. This is where I actually have to use math and my head is starting to hurt because of it. So V is equal to IR. So V over R is equal to I. So V over R is 24 divided by 0. The number of the devil, which is 36 amps. 36 amps. 36. That's not a very useful microscope. Hold on. 36 amps. This thing puts out 12.5 amps. Yeah, this thing is only 300. This is for testing like big boy power supplies. This is for like the big boy. I don't think I want to overdraw this thing. So let's see what my other load resistor is. I have another load resistor. I have a different one. It's another big resistor that was meant for the steering wheel project, actually. I don't know if it's still accessible back here. I don't know where I put it. It's this big aluminum box that I've never done anything with. But I don't know where it got to. I think I have one of those big 6-ohm resistors somewhere. Could hook it up to an RC motor. How much current does those use? Does those? Das ist so. Okay, hold on. This is digging through these project bins that we need to clean up. Hey, you guys take it easy over there while I got my back turned. There's a farting up my shop while my back is in a different direction. I can't see any of you. All I hear is farting. That's how you identify where chat members are, I guess. Twitch viewers. There's a certain je ne sais quoi, that is to say smell. This one. Oh, it might be in this one. This is a lot of the LED screens. These screens are awesome. They're very cool. I haven't had a lot of use to them. Oh, and that's where my... Damn it. I was looking for these. My Raspberry Pi stuff that I was looking for the other day. Yeah, these $7 LED, sorry, the $7 LED screens. We gotta find a project that'll power those. Something cool. Still no load resistor. I'm striking out here, chat. I could have sworn I had it. Yeah, oh, here it is. I found it. So what is this monster of a resistor? The brick. The brick resistor. What camera? It's a Logitech C920, but it's in a case from a place called Kuroketsu. Headlight bulbs? I think I might have a couple of those. 40 ohms, 300 watts. Hey, that's our wattage. That doesn't matter though. 40 ohms for 24 volts. What's that's gonna do? So that's 40. So it's 24 divided by 40. So that's a sixth of an amp at 24 volts, right? Did I do that right? V equals I times R. Divide by R. Yeah. So 40 is not quite gonna push the power supply, but it will actually be a good test because that puts a bit of a load on it. It puts a 600 milliamp load on it. So that'll be pretty good. 600 milliamps is a decent amount of power for a test. So that means that I need to open these up. We are powered down. I'm gonna unplug just to be nice to myself so I don't come across any kind of voltages when I'm doing this. And then we'll start by tapping the terminals to this big resistor just to discharge these because there may be some capacitors in our path. Double check, we'll put it to volts on the multimeter. The multimeter. Poke the pokey bits, we're good. Okay, so now I need to loosen these giant bolts. I mean, I could use a pair of pliers, but I guess I'll just be nice. I've got all the wrenches in this drawer, so I might as well use them. Gotta use the tools you have, otherwise why have them? That's in the upper drawer. That is up here. There we go. Watch them be English and not metric because they're in Massachusetts. Related to the coil in the bucket thing, what's that, OE Tech? This is a coil of pipe with water pumped through while an 8 kiloamps of DC current flows to create a massive magnetic flux in the center of the coil. Oh yeah, those are like knife makers love those things. Excuse me, hold on. Why didn't it? There it goes. Yeah, you just drop something into that coil and it'll heat it up. I tried to build one of those, but apparently the MOSFETs on it were so sensitive that they just died from like probably me touching it wrong. Why is Twitch giving me a notification? Probably like drops. You've earned drops. Hey, oh bother, wish you could unlock gift sub savings your community at any time. Wish granted. Thank you, Twitch, for that notification. Do I look like the kind of person that wants to do that? Okay, anyway, back to this. And then we gotta loosen these terminals up. Yeah, so part of I think the order when I bought the 3D printer was one of those inductive, I think they are English size. That is ridiculous if they are. Is that, what are we gripping? Look at how loose that is. Yeah, it's English. Son of a, okay, all right. Can't escape the Brits over here in America. I thought this was America. Land of the free. I'm just looking for anything English sized in this drawer. That looks like it might be kind of the right size. Way too big. That's a 12. To 12. 5/16 was ambitious. Yeah, like most of the things around here, you Brits started us off on it, and then we refused to move over. Kind of like soccer being called footy tooty. All right, I'm doing open-ended. Open-ended wrench. Put this stuff away so I don't lose anything. Let's get the whole kit. We still drink tea here. Just sometimes it ends up in a harbor. Oh, I see. Part of it is that there's a lot of plastic stuff in the way. It is 5/16 though. Or sorry, 3/8 of an inch, which is ridiculous. I don't know if 3D Connection would appreciate their mouse being right next to this kind of carnage. Polarity does not matter because this is a big resistor. And I'm just kind of squishing it on some of the stuff here so we just get a good connection, because this thing will probably heat up pretty quickly with 600 milliamps of energy going into it. Things can tend to get toasty pretty quick. You know, it's not an incredible amount of current. It's no halogen light bulb. When I tested out the 300 watt, it was more than 300 watt, wasn't it? The custom Vicor power supply that I built for my computer project, I actually took a whole bunch of halogen bulbs and I put them in an old scanner bed just to use up a bunch of current. It was kind of awesome. That doesn't count as making tea if nobody drank it. Oh. The fish. What about the fish? They had a nice tea party. Hey, and incidentally, that was not too far from the manufacturer of this power supply. It's the world's biggest teacup. We added salt instead of sugar. This will not draw 3 amps. This will not blow the circuit breaker. Alan Bradley, it works. I'm going to trust that this will work in a pinch. I don't really think I need to test it. I'm not going to put an ammeter on the line. We're just going to power this on and see what kind of heat it generates in this giant brick. I doubt it'll be anything worth writing home about, but we're going to try it. I mean, we've got to take baby steps, right? So let's plug ourselves back in over here. This is powered off. Plug ourselves back in over here. This is also very much not ideal in the layout of where all the power is going. I kind of should have flipped this whole thing around so that I have access to the power switch and I have access to the power plug. Generally, I guess my plan of escape would be to grab this and yoink on it as hard as I can. That's pretty much the best I could do. All right, power on. So we see nothing happening. Thermally, nothing is happening. Check power over here, and we'll see how hot the power supply gets with 600 milliamps on the line. 600 is a pretty heavy quiescent current. I don't think when everything is powered down and it's just the Raspberry Pi, I don't think we're going to be dealing with a ton of current. So we are at 24 volts. And we'll just give this thing a minute here. It's not the incredible, crazy heat up that we would expect. What's up, Taekwondo Dragon? I bought a thermal cam from AliExpress, 192 by 192 at 25 hertz. That's cool. The AliExpress cameras passed us. It was just recently, like a couple years ago, that China broke the thermal technology that brings them all of these wonderful imagers now. So when I suggest to people, whether, you know, people come in and they go, what is that thermal camera? I want to get the same thing as you. And I have to say, don't buy what I bought, because I bought it so long ago that it is totally obsolete. You can now go on AliExpress and get wonderful resolutions in the thermal cameras. And if Burn the Subs pops off a little bit more, which right now it clearly is not, if that pops off a little bit more, I might have it in the budget to actually purchase something like one of these Temu thermal imagers, so that I can have brilliant visuals, brilliant thermal camera, because it is nice to have that extra information, that extra sort of extra sensory perception of being able to see things thermally, especially in electronics, because heat is death to electronics. I don't know what got into me today. It's 90 degrees out, Fahrenheit. The humidity is something like 75%, and I'm sitting in here building heaters. What is my problem? The downside is that it shows up as a webcam. It's encrypted, so you have to use their app. That's some bullshit. This is Pure Thermal from GroupGets. It was probably $300 for the whole setup, because it was like $150 for the webcam board and then another $150 for the Lepton 3.1 sensor. Technically, every single pixel on this thing has a temperature, and if I could get into the STM32 programming environment a little bit more, I could probably make my own custom overlay on this and make it look a little cooler. Get it? Haha. Or get information out of it in order to put on the screen. I have not done that because that's kind of a big project and I don't know what I'm doing. But I could do that with this one. But again, it was like $300. And with $300 going through China nowadays, I could get a much better stuff, probably even with tariffs. But this one does show up as a webcam. This one's just a regular old webcam. Things are getting tepid. They're not, again, human temperature, this thing. They don't quite compare. But generally, heat is getting into the aluminum. Ooh, I gotta take a sip. That was pure acid. Ugh. I had part of a supermarket salami sandwich. It was salami and turkey. And then a salad. I did say earlier I had a salad. I had a salad as well. But that little bit of supermarket salami is making it a little spicy. I'm burping. So, my Twitch stream versus something as punchy and interesting and scary as a power supply, boring. Which is everything that I wanted out of today, is for this to not be spicy so that we wouldn't throw sparks everywhere. Things just kind of work out and it's okay. Probably could have done this thing in series or banks of parallel. What would that net me? Well, it's an uneven number of resistors too. I'd want them all to be pretty even on there. So if I got rid of one and I did 2 in parallel at 6, isn't that 3? 3, 6, 9, 12. 24 over 12. That would be like 1 amp. Yeah, that's 2 amps. 2 amps. So if we alter this, 3 by 3 would give us more amp for our amp. 3, 3, and 3. So that then it's a third of 6, right? Or no, it's 1 over, yeah, so it's actually, no, it's different. The math is different. Hold on, let me figure out what 3 in line is. I'm totally going to do this in my head and not use a digikey counter by hitting minus a bunch to figure out how many ohms they are. I'm not currently trying to, it's 2 ohms each. So that would be 6 ohms. So then it's 24 over 6. So that's 4 amps. Right? Because it's 2, 4, 6. These are 6 ohms anyway. That'd be kind of counterproductive, right? Four by 4? No, that's going to be more current. 2 by 2 was 2, so I could either do 2 or 6, or 2 or 4. So they're both out of spec, though. That's okay. We're all farting in our brains. That's all we can hear these days. There it is. What's up, Syphilid 8? Thank you for subbing. Yeah, everybody's setting off their farts now. We're just trying to figure out, like, how can we put this power supply to the test. If I plug this thing in as it is right now, we are going to run something like 32 amps through it, which is, I mean, it is a test that we could do, but the power supply would definitely start throttling at that point. It would be intermittently cutting. It would be a good test of the smart features of the power supply. Power supply works, though. It was a good eBay purchase. We are very, very slowly heating this thing up. I don't think I'm going to be cooking ramen noodles with it anytime soon. I mean, it's 40 ohms. It really could be less ohms. I don't know how you would go in and edit that. You can't really. It's all sealed up inside. It's potting material all over it. This is for, like, hardcore control system stuff. Like for braking motors that are huge. Big old motors. Putting the brakes on them. I mean, this thing could be used in some pretty incredibly industrial things. It's interesting that there's so little heat coming off of it, too. I don't honestly know what the deal is with my own personal power supply. That thing was drawing a lot of current, though, because it was going into a computer. So, and I guess at 24 volts, I don't know. But it really is like, this is no danger to the plastic that it's going to be screwed into. I mean, I would think that this would be the first fuse, is the PETG would become soft and then this thing will fall off. But I think if I keep it in spec, and we're not going to get anywhere near 12.5 amps. So if we keep it within spec, I think we'll be okay. I don't think I need to do a heavy load test on it. I think our load test is just going to be running burn the subs with it. And I think the water cooling that I'm going to have on this thing is not necessary at all. I may want to try to rebend these tubes. I don't know. Because this is a little weird. I mean, it's funny. That's kind of the whole purpose of it. But I think I could probably rebend that tube to be like a singular loop. That's for a later date, though. I think we're good for today. I think I'm going to end on the high note of this thing actually functioning. Let's see if I have a car headlight, though. Let's just see if I have a car headlight. That would be a good test of this thing. A halogen bulb would be even better. But I have my fog lights all the way down here. Way down here. I got to reach all the way down in my storage to get to them. Oh, God. The vacuum cleaner. I don't think that would be a good fit. Yeah, here's a car headlight. See if I can find clips for it. These clips are going to heat up. What do I have in the clip department that is not going to totally blow up as soon as this thing starts? Not a whole lot. I guess I'm going to use the lab clips on it. They're not going to appreciate this. There's going to be a lot of heat and a lot of drama. Yeah, we just got to live with it. Here's a red one. That'll do. All right. Not sure if headlights are like double the voltage. These are going to be replaced with LEDs. These are aftermarket BMW fog lights. I was going to put LEDs in these and try to engineer some type of a fan that would go in this housing. So the housing could stay sealed, but a little fan would help cool the LED lights because they generate a lot of heat. All right, so system off, at least just right there. Move the multimeter out of the way, replace it with car headlight. And I suppose I will get the 600 milliamp load off while we're here. The bulbs go off with a really nasty bang if you break them. This is so deep in the housing, and I bought this so long ago. I never did this project. I kind of wish I did, because my main headlights are actually LEDs. One of my LED headlights has trouble, but we put a lot of work into those LED headlamps in order to make sure that we weren't blasting everybody with huge amounts of light. This is actually physically warm now. When did that happen? Wait, this thing actually started to cascade a little bit. When did that happen? I flipped the switch off. Why did it suddenly get... Huh. That's interesting. So, I mean, it was on its way to getting too hot. Interesting. I dropped one on the driveway and found the metal shell about 50 meters down the road. Oh my God. Well, I don't think it'll go off like that. We'll find out. I guess we'll just find out. I'm mostly concerned about these wires. These clips are really dinky. They do not enjoy current. Turns out halogen bulbs contain scary pressure. That's true. Halogen bulbs really are very dramatic, aren't they? These are halogens. So I've run a bunch of halogen bulbs at 12 volts before. I don't think 24 is going to be too bad, depending on how much current it's going to want to take. We're basically turning it off and then turning it off again, because the wires that I'm using are probably going to be the fusible link in this whole system. And we will have a blinding amount of light coming out of it. Can you... Doll hand, hold this up. It's trying. It's trying its best. And other dumb things that I've wired up. The one I dropped was cold. What? Anything with gas gets scary pressure when they're hot enough. Halogens operate in high temperatures. That's just what they do. That's why all the halogen... I don't know if you guys remember the era of having halogen desk lamps, where it would be like a death sentence if you got too close to the glass. And if you sneeze and you happen to get a little bit of spittle on that glass, it's going to blow up because of the pressure, the temperature variance. 3, 2, 1, go. Nothing's happening. I'm turning it off. Why didn't you power up? What was that? Is there no bulb in here? There's no bulb. There's no bulb. There's no bulb in here. There's no bulb. It's just the housing. Let me go see if I got a bulb somewhere. Why is it not fitting together again? Oh, because there's a thing in the way. There's a thing in the way. Okay, that didn't work. That didn't work. There's nothing in there. There's nothing in there. Let me go find a bulb. I don't know if there's a bulb back there. There might be. Let's go check. Let's go check back in the project bin for the fog lamp project. Oh yeah, there's all kinds of stuff back here. There's all kinds of stuff back here. There's LED lamps. I don't know, the LED lamps aren't gonna like that voltage very much. Here's a spare lamp for my car. This is halogen again, but it's not in an enclosure. And the whole thing is going to get super duper hot, so I can't use the doll hands to hold on to it. I probably shouldn't have just touched it with my fingers there. Nah, we should use this. The area around it clear because it's going to heat everything up. This is off. This is off. I should probably put some kind of a shield up so that I don't get glass in my face. These are very hard to work with. I need to get some higher quality clips. Higher quality power clips, because this, I can't press down on it because the jacket slips to the side. Oh my God, what the fuck are these things? These suck. Dude. Too much spring on it. Okay. Oh, dear God. I hear crackling. I hear crackling. I hear crackling. I heard crackling. Something was about to blow up. I think I stopped it just in time. I got a spot in the middle of my eye. I can't see anymore. That retina is toast. I just did impromptu retina surgery on myself. Whew. Oh, and there's a smell. There is a smell. Yeah, the wires got warm, but I heard crackling coming from this. And now I've got a spot in the middle of my eyes. What the hell's my problem? I looked at it because it wasn't lighting up at first. It didn't light up, and then the power supply decided, sure, we can provide current to that. And then this thing went psycho, and I probably think it would blow up if I left it to its own devices. And as cool as it would be to have another clip of something exploding on Oh Bother's show, I don't want to deal with glass everywhere today. This is not how my shop is set up. I constantly am comparing myself to Uo's lab, but in the end, at the end of the day, I'm not blowing stuff up, and I really should be, but I've just, we haven't crossed that Rubicon yet. That thing was not a happy camper, though. I'm going to do it again. It's not even, I think it's dead. That or the power supply rejected it. I just turned it on for a brief second there and nothing happened. So the power supply is smarter than me and will say, hey, I'm not gonna help you out with that. That's why it took a minute or two for this thing to turn on in the first place. But I think maybe the lens is probably cracked. Okay, that's all the tempting fate I'm gonna do today. I don't know if that'll go back in to the box. I guess maybe just so that I can identify it again. If I ever want to go back to halogens on my car. This would be not the fog light, I don't think. No, that might actually be the fog light. Oh well. Where's your remote launcher? I never ordered the MOSFETs for it. We need to find some good MOSFETs for it. Because that was the more exciting one, where things would charge up and then fire something at my face. The capacitors for that were actually for one of these power supplies. The caps on that project. But all right, I gave it the car headlamp treatment. We got there with it. It did something cool. Nearly melting wires and causing all kinds of stress hormones to be emitted into my body. So where we're gonna go from here is I'm gonna pack this stuff up, and then we're gonna bring 24 volts over to the controller and to the power supplies that are under this board. So we need to get all that stuff sort of cinched down. And I think I'm going to need to make some wire things in order to hold the cooling stuff against the two little power supplies. There's two little DC to DC power supplies that are from Pololu, these two little boards under here. These things get freaking hot. These things get very, very hot. And so we need to make sure that they are protected for idling, so that they don't blow everything up. So the Vicor power supply is happy to provide them with all the current that they need, but these get physically very, very warm when they are performing the task of turning 12 and or 24 volts into 5 volts for this thing. So that's what we're going to work on next. That's going to be the next thing. We'll do that on Friday. I don't know how far we'll get, but it will at least have our wits about us. And we know that this part of the power supply works perfectly well. When we give it heavy loads, at least insofar as we did, it doesn't totally get warm and explode. I'm a little bit more confident about this thing. It's done the 600 milliamp test. We'll see where things go when we start giving it a real meal. And this thing is still, it's physically cool. It looks, you know, it's showing up on thermals, but it is not, I can't even sense warmth when I put my hand up to it. So generally with electronics, you want to keep it below your human temperature, right? What was it? Somebody gave us that threshold the other day of human pain. The amount of, or maybe that was something I looked up. I found it on like a synthesizer forum, was the temperature for human pain. All right. So, well, let's actually, we'll pack it up. Let's pack it up right now, and then I'll end the stream. Finally, I'll end the stream. But I'm confident in this system. Oh yeah, just maybe just be nice to myself. Not throw a whole bunch of voltages into my hand. I was once working on audio stuff, testing it, doing unit tests and stuff, and I leaned my hand over the open enclosure and I touched a heatsink. And it just so happened, because of the way they designed the device, that heatsink was at about 70 volts AC. And so I got a nice little buzz across my arm. Not fun. All right, that's my little pseudo DIN rail. It's my sideways DIN rail mount. I'm gonna get that nice and flush. This is all the stuff that we designed in Fusion 360, and it's why they contacted me for their creators camp. Program. Oh no, we're squishing the wire. That's why it's going in uneven. Eh. I did all that to make sure that the wire wouldn't be squished, and then I squished it like a bug. There we go. That's why things weren't going. I don't like this wire. This wire kind of passing behind everybody. It's what it's... Okay, let's get out. Get this back there. Come on, bud. You can do it. There you go. Okay, so... Oh, yeah, I got to do this. We have to do the maker beam stuff. Tilt this way? Yeah, okay. So I can release this bar. That's going to be tough to get back in. I'll put this one. Opposite end. I need to get this back in. That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough to do. Kind of locked into two places. How did I get it out before? This is a mystery. That one I can let fall. This one I need to bring up into the right spot. Twist it a little. Yeah, the power plug's getting in the way. How did I get it out without the... Oh boy. I made all these problems for myself. See, I don't want to lose the spot that the bar is in. It's in a particular spot because that's where the wall mount holds it up. So I didn't want to remove, because I could easily remove this whole bracket and put the thing out and back in, but then it'll be in a different position and it might not interface with my wall brackets as well. Damn it. Got to get behind it with a pair of tweezers. There we go. All right, now let's find a chunky washer that will penetrate the anodization. Nice big chunko of a washer. We got those in one of these guys here. Maybe this one. Somewhere in this bin, I bet I've held on to at least one. This one is unfortunately integrated with the bolt itself. This one has a little skirt on it. That's this camera. See, it's got that little integrated skirt that would be perfect for cutting into the anodization, but unfortunately, it's too big. I love myself a box of random used hardware. These are the things that the next generation is going to be inheriting from us and cursing us for. All of our oxidized random fasteners. Here we go. This will do. So this one has the little notches on it facing inwards. You can't see it from all the way over there, but it's just the right size. So we'll use that one. Now where's my fastener? Now it's all the way over here. It seems stuck. There we go. All right, perfect. So that one drops down first, the one that's going to cut both things and allow current to flow through. A box of helical purgatory. That is a poetic way of putting it. Let's see. These go that way, but I want this to be inside of the enclosure, so I'm going to do it this way. Drop this over here. And we'll drop the one with the big lock washer on top. And my hand is cramping. I think my glucose level is probably dropping. Whatever the hell it was I ate for lunch. Did I give... I don't think I gave insulin. I think my system just automatically dealt with whatever the hell I ate. So that should... I mean, we've given it every advantage. We want it to dig into the anodization. So it should have done that. Maybe. Hopefully. We're going to lock this down. I mean, I guess this can go up top here. It does have just enough room. Yeah, that is enough room, so I can just kind of casually put that there. And this, oh, without this. It goes up here, and then I'm just going to crush this stuff under, as my excess cable is just simply there for maintenance purposes. Long, long, short, short. And the hex wrench. These ones are really the load-bearing ones because they got a lot of threads that go in. Get that nice and tight. So, the power supply that we designed seems to be doing the right stuff. And as we step through the rest of this, we at least know that we've put our best foot forward for this part. I may put some spiral wrap around this at one point. Why is this not going down in there? It's all out of alignment, isn't it? Was there a problem with the alignment before? There might have been. I think it was something that I didn't decide to fix. But, well, it's close enough. I'm fine. And that manifests... It manifests democracy is what it does. Unhand me. There it goes. Yeah, it's just a little bit of an alignment thing. I've only got 4 bolts in this, so it can be off by a little bit. If you do just one of them, the other 3 can be off. They can be all over the place. Look at this thing. It looks great. I love what we've designed. Now we're going to, of course, have to bust it all open again when I do the DB connector. DB connector interfaces with all the motors. We've only got 2 of the motors hooked up. I guess we're only using 2 motors, yeah. So one of them is actually a rather large motor, so I don't know if we're going to be overdoing it on this system. I think these drivers are good enough. They do bump sensing too, which is really nice. So we don't have to, all we need to have is bump stops on the machine, as long as the bump stops are solid enough and they don't get bumped out of the way over the months or years that Burn the Subs is going to be active. So yeah, cool. Well, we actually succeeded in building part of a thing today. Yeah, these definitely need something wrapped around them, because I'll pull them into the panel over here, right near all the water. These are not as flexible as I think the 18 gauge would let on to be. And my ground wire is already threatening to be broken. Huh. Come on, stay in there. Jeez. Want this to be nice and neat. I could maybe put a screw through the bottom there and have a little wire loop. The succulent burn the sub. I can't do that accent very well today. Burn the sub's control panel. The problem is that it takes up an area that is right next to, or sorry, it takes up an area that's right next to the board. So it is the height of the entire board, which means if I stand it up like this, the camera's got to go all the way back here because our eyes are next to each other instead of one on top of the other. But this is looking good. We've been working on this for some time, so there's no way that it couldn't look good. But we've got AC wiring going into it and 24 volt DC coming out of the main power supply. There are 2 supplemental power supplies that will, of course, take our DC voltage levels to the Raspberry Pi and the motor controller level. This thing's going to operate on 24 volts. This thing will operate on 5, and then we're going to have the motor, the diode driver is going to operate at 5 volts TT. Well, it speaks TTL. I think it gets 12 volts. The 12 volt power supply for this thing is going to be pulling quite a bit of duty. It's gonna be doing a lot of work on this system, but I think it's up to the task. I think it can run several amps. The fans are going to be on the 12 volt line, I think. I don't think they're going to be directly off of the power supply, so that's an unfortunate thing. And idling, it looks like this thing won't need a fan, but we've got to put everything up onto it. It got duty. Duty. Not duty. All right. Well, thanks for joining me for a little bit of a wiring stream. That was about 10 minutes worth of wiring, but we got it together in the end. We have more wiring to do, so we're going to get back to this on tomorrow and hopefully, again, make more progress into having this thing operational. We can get that 12 volt. Is it 12 volt? I think a 12 volt power supply. We'll get the little power supplies running and see what those are outputting. I don't know if we'll be able to get them hooked up to like the Raspberry Pi yet, but we'll work towards that. So I will catch you guys then. We're going to be back in roughly, oh, I didn't do the end card. Hold on, I didn't do the end card. What kind of a streamer is this? He won't even do his own end card. It's like ridiculous. This guy is just such a bum. Such a bum. Paste that there. Day ++, 20, bonk. And then, now keep in mind my social media is currently inactive, so that's just with a grain of salt. Can't do anything about it. It got hacked. So, but if you guys would like to see what's up, I got a Discord. That's all I got anymore. But the next stream will be in approximately 28 days, 3 hours, 38 minutes, and 31 seconds. We're very specific around here. And I will catch you guys then. See you tomorrow. Where did that go? I need to put that to a button.